And welcome to the sold-out Hoosier Dome for today's game between the Chicago Bears, the defending champion of the NFC Central, and the champs of the AFC East, the Indianapolis Colts. And hi, everybody, I'm Tim Brandt. On a normal Sunday afternoon during the NFL season, I would be joined by Hank Stram. But Hank became ill yesterday. He is resting comfortably. And Hank, I know you're watching, so get well soon. So we go to our situation substitution. And we bring in our expert analyst and former Chicago Bear, Dan Jiggets. And Dan, first of all, welcome. It has been a hectic week, not only for us, but for both of these teams on the field. Bring us up to date on that.
Well, when you talk about the Bears, Sean Gale, first of all, their starting safety, he's out with a hamstring pull. Add to that Calvin Thomas, their fullback, and Richard Dent, defensive end, both of them on the 30-day drug suspension list. Now, Richard Dent will play today. However, he got a temporary injunction that allowed him to do that. He'll have to meet with the commissioner on Friday.
And Dent missed 2 days of practice. It has not been an easy week. There have been changes with Indianapolis as well.
Well, Jack Trudeau is going to start at quarterback for the Indianapolis Colts, and that's in place of Gary Hogaboom. Ron Meyer, the head coach of the Colts, simply said that he's been out playing Gary Hogaboom at this point. They have some problems on the offensive line. Chris Hinton, their all-pro tackle, is out. Ron Solt, the all-pro guard, is not in camp. He's not signed yet. But the good news is they got Freddie Young, the linebacker, all-pro again from Seattle in a trade. Ought to be an interesting day, and Fred Young ought to play for the Colts today.
All right, Dan, and Chicago has won the toss. Look at the Bears. 11 straight games in the month of September. Not as easy for Indianapolis. As a matter of fact, the Colts have not won a game in September since 1985. Biasucci to kick off. Kozlowski and Gentry are deep. This is Kozlowski for the Bears. With running room. Chris Good with the tackle. So that'll bring on Jim Mcmahon, who's won 29 of his last 30 starts. The problem with Mcmahon has been keeping him healthy. And there is a flag on that kickoff. Talk about McMahon's health. 53 starts in 85 games. That's only 62%. He's had shoulder injuries, back, neck, kidneys, hands, and hamstrings. Fred Wyant, our referee today, and he's joined by John Keck, the head linesman, Jerry Bergman, Joe Haynes.
And they're going to have to re-kick the ball, I believe, because the kickoff team is still out there, is going out now, and the kickoff return team is Mike Ditka, head coach of the Chicago Bears. I'm sure he's wondering, just as all of our viewers are, what the heck's going on, but actually it's a penalty on the kickoff.
31, 5-yard re-kick.
Well, the call was on Michael Ball of the Colts, and so they will kick it off again.
This is where, as a coach, you hope that Dean Biasucci can kick the ball into the end zone and that way prevent the run back, because the Bears now have a 5-yard advantage because of the infraction.
So we'll do it again as Biasucci will tee it up. Gentry is the speedster 29 that you see there. Kozlowski 88, first-year player out of BYU.
Now you see how those players are standing together. What that tells you is they want to disguise who's going to go to which side, because one may be a better return man than the other. They don't want the kicking team to have the advantage of knowing who's going to be on which side.
So we do it again, and this time it'll be Gentry at the 4. To the 26-yard line, Freddie Robinson out of Alabama made the tackle. Let's set that defensive alignment for you for the Colts. It'll be Donnell Thompson, Joe Klecko, the longtime veteran, and John Hand. O'Brien Alston gets his start today. Cliff Odom, Barry Krause, and Dwayne Bickett, the All-Pro. Willie Tullis, Eugene Daniel, Mike Pryor, and Freddie Robinson out of Alabama, who made that tackle. We'll start in the secondary. First down at the 27 for Chicago. Gentry and McKinnon are the wideouts. This is Moorhead to the 31-yard line, and we'll take a look at that offensive talent of the Chicago Bears. Players that you're very well acquainted with. Jim McMahon, Matt Suhey, Neil Anderson, Dennis Gentry, and Dennis McKinnon, the wideouts. Offensive line, Wojciechowski, a replacement player from last year, along with Bortz, Hilgenberg, Thayer, Van Horn and Moorhead. We'll tell you more about that offensive line shortly, but there's been a lot of off-season surgery. 2nd and 5 at the 32. Not much up the middle for Suey. That too has been a change, Dan. They moved Suey back to his natural position at fullback, and they put Neil Anderson back over at the running back. Last year with Walter in there, they wanted him to go out in style, and they moved Anderson over to the fullback position. And
Matt is just a natural fullback, and the result of Neil being at the fullback position was they didn't get as much blocking as they wanted to from that position. But Matt Suey is a great blocker as well as running the football on the short distance.
The Colts go to 7 defensive backs on 3rd and 3. Gentry in motion. The quick out. Anderson has the Chicago first down. Neil Anderson, 3rd-year pro out of Florida.
Colts were placed in a one-on-one situation, a man-to-man situation on defense because they blitzed, the strong safety blitz. That left Neil Anderson out in that flat all by himself. And as a result, Jim McMahon read the play very quickly and dumped it off to the running back, which is what you've got to do in that situation.
Yeah, they talk about this Chicago offense as being more balanced now that Walter's gone.
They do. They mix it up very well between play action, run, and long pass. So that's a benefit, at least this year.
First down, Chicago. This is Anderson. He tiptoes his way across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Barry Krause makes the tap down there. Not only has the offense changed, the entire team has, Dan. Look at this.
I tell you what, that's a list of who's who in the National Football League. When you look at those names, really hurt the team in terms of, missing all of those good people that have been in there for quite some time.
Defensively, of course, Marshall, Wilson, Vincent, and Phillips make a major difference in what they do defensively. 2nd down and 9, Chicago. Daniel rolls up with the bottom of your screen. Man-to-man coverage there. Now they drop back into his zone. McMahon throws to the right side to Suey, and not much there. Good coverage by Willie Tullis. One of the matchups I like to watch today is how is Jim McMahon getting protected from that left tackle position where Wojo's over there blocking against John Hand. So far, John Wojciechowski has been doing a great job against him. And I'm sure there you see Wojciechowski, number 73. I hope that's how you pronounce his name. I know Dick Stanfield, the offensive line coach, just calls him Wojo all the time. It is Wojciechowski, a replacement player last year. He was getting ready to be a science teacher when the call came to be a replacement player. He played well, and we talked to the coaches yesterday, and they like him a lot. They think he's going to be a genuine player. 3rd and 5. Backside pressure, McMahon's down. Donnell Thompson and Harvey Armstrong, along with Ezra Johnson.
Right side of your screen, you're going to see number 90, Ezra Johnson, former Green Bay Packer. Big pressure straight out. Now, Wojo's got 2 guys. In that situation, the offensive left tackle's got to fan out and pick up that outside guy and let the guard fan out to pick up the man that's over you, and that's the mistake that he made.
This punt taken by Clarence Verdun at the 15 of the Colts. And there is a flag.
Clarence Verdun out of the USFL. Remember, he's down there with the Houston Gamblers, put on quite a show with Jim Kelly and all of that group.
Kelly had Sanders, Verdun, and Gerald McNeil was now with the Browns in that receiving corps. Wagner's punt, 41 yards.
Come on, Fred, get that rope together out there.
Illegal block in the back by the Colts, and they'll move them back. Wagner's punt, as I mentioned, 41 yards, but has not been easy for Wagner. The punter of the Colts,
illegal block in the back, number 31, first down.
Now here's the infraction, lower part of your screen. Now watch that block right in the back there. That's the one that brought it back, and that is number 31.
Michael Ball.
That's Michael Ball.
So they move it back to the 18-yard line, and that's where the Colts will start.
We're not a company.
But we'll give you a chance to work where there's always a challenge.
We'll give you opportunities to learn, to develop.
To perfect skills that you thought were beyond your reach.
We'll help you build a career.
McMahon's offense in the Bears, now it's all the attention turns to this guy, Dickerson. Look at this.
Boy, I tell you what, those are some great names up there that are in front of him. But look how quickly he's catching up right now. He has an opportunity this year to move, and as a matter of fact, in this game to move into 8th place. Needs 14 yards. And look how shortly he's done it, 6 seasons.
We'll see how long it takes him to move up. 14 yards. We'll keep an eye on that. First down, Indianapolis on the 18. Trudeau's first snap, and he's going deep with it. Intercepted. Bestie Jackson still on his feet. Jackson back to the 42. The crowd wanted pass interference.
And we got a fight down on the field between Kevin McCall and Jim Morrissey, but it looks like the officials have intervened.
Boozer thought he was tripped up by Bestie Jackson.
Now, this goes back to that new rule on pass interference where if both the defender and the receiver are looking for the football, if your feet get tangled up, that's your problem. Now watch, Bestie Jackson, number 24, is looking for the football. He has just as much right to it as a receiver. There you see him playing it, and Matt Boozer simply trips down on the stripe. I know the crowd here is upset, but he stubbed his toe, and it seemed like that toe just jammed on the turf.
Consequently, the officials are letting him play a lot more because of the leniency now in the call, in the new rule. And we saw some of the problems that could cause in the Monday night game when a couple of the Washington receivers were mugged.
Yeah.
This is Anderson on first down. Gets a block. He'll be out close to a first down, a pickup of 9. He'll be a yard short of the first. Right now, let's go to New York and Brent Musburger for this update. Brent?
And the big one in the East, Steve Young fumbles for the San Francisco 49ers. The Giants recover Young's fumble and capitalize. Sims to Manuel, 7-0. Giants lead the 49ers early in the Meadowlands. Back to Tim and Dan.
Well, those Giants are really on a roll. You look at that Washington game Monday night and now today.
Well, Brent, it didn't take them long. They're on a roll starting in that second half against Washington. McMahon's sharp 4 of 5 early on. Fred Young, the new All-Pro, the Colts is in this ball game. This is Anderson on 2nd and 1, and he'll be close.
What you try to do in short yardage is make sure that you cut off the inside, and then you see Freddie Young stuffing the hole up in the middle. What happens is those defensive linemen collapse down the middle and get the linebackers to support against the run.
I don't understand how a guy can fly all night, get into camp Friday morning, sit down with his books, go to one practice. He hasn't played in a game since the Pro Bowl in Hawaii last year. How can he get in and play?
He's another one of those linebackers that if you rip off the jersey, he's got an S underneath it there. Yeah, as you told me before, Fred with 2 Ds, the other D is for defense. That's how come he can play.
In other words, just line him up and point him. He'll go and get some information right now. What's the next defense? What do I do? Just that far. So it'll be 3rd and inches for Chicago.
You know, we mentioned earlier about Jim McMahon and how many games he's missed, but the key to Jim McMahon and the Chicago Bears and that relationship is look how many games he won. Out of those 62, I think it's 40-some games. That's an incredible statistic for a quarterback.
53 starts, 40 wins at 76%. Morris and Davis, the wideouts now for Chicago. 3rd down and inches. Anderson, first down and then some.
The Bears kind of surprise you on short yardage. You wouldn't expect them to go to Wojo's side on short yardage because he's playing against John Hand. John Hand is 6'7", about 300 pounds, and Wojo is much smaller than him. But they go back over that left side. You saw Neil Anderson that time just slip up into the line of scrimmage and then bounce right back over left tackle. And there's John Hand. He is a big man.
He is that, 298 pounds. How much are you, Dan?
Less than that.
Not much. 8 minutes, 29 seconds remain, first quarter. No score. intended for Wendell Davis, incomplete. Wendell Davis, the rookie, first-round draft pick out of LSU.
One of the things you do when that quick hitch pass is you want your linemen to cut those outside rushes. Now watch Mark Bortz here, number 62, cuts that rusher down, Dwayne Bickett. Jim has a nice clean alley to throw the football out to Wendell Davis, just overthrew it a tad.
Talking to Barry Krause yesterday, he was a little bit upset. He says guys like Thayer and Bortz, those guys can bench press over 500 pounds and then they cut you. They don't use the strength.
Hey, the Bears have a tight end that can bench press 500 pounds in Jim Thornton.
2nd and 10, this is Anderson. Across the 40 to the 39-yard line, and Barry Krause, the man we were talking about, makes the tackle. 10-year pro out of Alabama.
I like the way you said that, Alabama.
Roll Tide.
As Barry looks like he got dinged a little bit on the hip. He is coming out now. One of the problems you can have in the middle of this defense now is Joe Klecko. Now watch him stun himself out of the play. He's picked up by Matt Sue. He gets cut there. Neil Anderson makes a nice little break back over the other side, but Barry Krause comes up with a stop.
The Bears, 2 of 3 on 3rd down conversions. It's 3rd and 5 from the 40. The Colts go to 6 defensive backs. Backside pressure, incomplete. Boy, Freddie Robinson was coming in a hurry.
That was a foot race between Freddie Robinson and Jim McMahon to the sideline, and McMahon just fired it off in time to avoid the sack.
When you get in that race, look out, because Robinson runs a 4.40.
Oh, my goodness. I bet she's got a 40-inch vertical jump, too.
Brian Wagner on to punt. We talked about him earlier. They've had 4 punters into camp to contest for that job with Wagner in the first 5 weeks of this season, and that one's almost blocked.
We're going to get a flag on that one. Wagner's down.
They'll mark it on the 10-yard line, but there is a flag. Eugene Daniel, Mike Pryor, and O'Brien Alston were all coming in a hurry. Eugene
Daniels got to understand you get away from the officials when there's a flag because they'll just turn around and look for the most convenient number.
Got to look innocent.
That's it.
You're that small, hide behind the big guys. Fred Wine will straighten us out.
Running into the kicker, number 97, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That's O'Brien Alston, the rookie out of Maryland.
Now, Brian Wagner's just getting ready to kick it off, and there's O'Brien goes up in the air. He is airborne there just for a second, and he runs into Wagner. And
look at Freddie Young. Freddie Young was in there, too.
Well, Freddie Young, that's how he originally became an All-Pro, was on special teams. But this young man out of Maryland is a guy who you're very familiar with.
He's a player. Grew up in Connecticut. He's been very impressive in camp. McKinnon and Gentry now the wideouts. It's 1st down and 10 at the 35, Chicago. McMahon on the fade. Gentry's open. Touchdown, Chicago.
I like that little deal that they've got there in the end zone.
35-yard touchdown, and you can't lay it up any easier than that. Gentry just ran under it.
Well, I tell you, I think those players must get tired doing all those high fives and handshakes, though. You know, that's another workout in itself. Mike Ditka's got to be pleased with that adjustment that Jim made.
Mike Tomczak comes in. He'll get his first playing action as the holder. Hilgenberg the snapper, and Butler the kicker. 4 of 5 on extra points this year, so they're not gimmies, although Butler's one of the best in the league.
Here you're going to see a little pressure on Jim McMahon from up inside. John Hand, number 78, got in there late. He got his nice swim move, but Jim pump fakes the ball. That's what set up the play, and that allowed Dennis Gentry to break down field. Now you're going to get a chance to see him, number 29. Gentry right on the numbers there. Now he breaks it back up. That's after the pump fake, and he is wide open. He beats Eugene Daniel, who bit totally on the play.
7:18 remaining first quarter. The Bears strike first. 7 plays, 57 yards. It took only 3 minutes and 10 seconds. McMahon to Gentry. 7-0 Chicago. This is Butler to kick off for the Bears. And it'll be taken at the 11 by Albert Bentley. And Bentley gets back to the 29-yard line. Dante Jones made the tackle.
There's Jack Trudeau. He's getting ready to get the instructions, at least for the first couple of plays of the series. Jack Trudeau played at the University of Illinois, which is only a hop, skip, and a jump from Indianapolis. Played with Mike White as his head coach, and you know Mike White has produced some awfully good and talented quarterbacks. You got all of them out of California. You started looking at Trudeau and then Tony Eason up in New England.
You may have seen that graphic, 5 of 14 as a starter, but he was 5 and 3 last year. So he's improving as he goes along and took him to the playoffs. First down and 10 at the 29, Indianapolis. Trudeau with pressure. Throws to Dickerson, and Dickerson drops it and pays the price. 2 All-Pros. Dickerson laid a lick just to say, I'm in the neighborhood.
There's a story between those two that we'll get to in a second. Well, let me tell you right now, Eric Dickerson said that Dave Dickerson, number 22 for the Bears, was not a physical player. Now, you know, Bear defensive backs take exception to that. They had a war of words this week, and Dickerson's going to try to make sure in this game that he wins that war of words by physical abuse on Eric Dickerson.
See, now Eric says it was the other way around. Dickerson's done all the talking.
Yeah.
2nd and 10. This is Dickerson. Big hole up to the 35-yard line. Take a look at that Chicago defense when we get a chance. We'll set that line up for you. Since they've been relatively inactive thus far. William Perry, Steve McMichael, Dan Hampton, and Al Harris starts for Dent. Rivera, Singletary, and Morrissey, the linebackers. Big switch there with Marshall and Wilson out. Richardson, Jackson, and Douglas Dickerson in the secondary. And there's Richard Dent.
Richard will play today. However, he has not started the game, but you can believe in a tough passing situation, he's going to be in one of those defensive end spots.
He'll meet with the commissioner next Friday to determine his future. This is Trudeau across the middle, intended for Bentley on 3rd down and 4. And there is a flag, I do believe.
Well, the reason why Jack Trudeau doesn't have time to pass the football is because Dan Hampton has not been blocked yet. That was the 2nd pass play where he's rushed right into Trudeau's face, and now the penalty apparently is on the Colts.
Well, it's had an effect too, Dan. Trudeau 0 for 3 thus far.
Dan Hampton, he does it the old-fashioned way, you know, he just works hard. And you look at him and Steve McMichael in that middle, and those two guys are rough to handle. And I can tell you, because I used to go against Hamp every day.
Number 85 declined. 4th down.
Penalty obviously declined. And so the Colts will have to kick it away. Ron Stark comes on, the punter. You see his numbers. And deep for the Bears, Dennis McKinnon. McKinnon has 3 returns, an average of 9 yards. He's dangerous. Stark, high spiraling punt. Will take McKinnon inside the 10. He gets back to the 20, however, there is a flag. Jeff Harrod made the tackle.
Dennis McKinnon should not have fielded that ball. That ball was going to go into the end zone. They'd have had it back out on the 20. Now there's a flag on the play, so that may push the Bears back even further.
It is against Chicago.
He caught that ball on about the 8-yard line, I believe, and that's way too deep. Just trust it to go into the end zone at that point.
They start teaching that in Little League.
Illegal block in the back. Number 49. 1st down.
Lower part of your screen, you're going to get to see that penalty. Now watch David Tate, number 49, as he comes back and he's pushing in the back. These young guys have to learn that it looks great, but you can't get away with it.
Ball didn't like it. 7-0 Bears. We'll be back. Downtown Indianapolis. This is the capital of Indiana. Basketball country, so they say, but the Colts have had an impact.
But every time you come to Indianapolis, you see a new building going up. This place is really booming.
1st down, McMahon. Wendell Davis knocked out of bounds at the 24-yard line. If I'm not mistaken, Dan, that's his first catch
Yeah, and that's not Jay Hilgenberg's first fight of his career, but he's got Donnell Thompson. Both of them have face masks. Nobody wins in that situation because the face masks are made out of steel, so it doesn't help a whole lot. But Jay is really adamant about this one. You see that Miami Buffalo score, no surprise there. Early action in the NFL today. That Atlanta scores a little bit of a surprise, 7-3 over New Orleans early in the first quarter.
You just said it, early in the first quarter.
Yeah.
14-yard pickup. They'll mark it at the 24. It's first down and 10 for McMahon and the Bears. Matt Suey to the 26-yard line. That's where Dwayne Bickett and Barry Krause make the hit.
Boy, I tell you what, the Bears do some good things on offense. Now, the first thing that happened was John Wojciechowski. When you watch him block down on John Hand, nice clean block. Now that leaves Tom Thayer pulling out on Dwayne Bickett. He cuts him there. Beautiful blocking, but Barry Krause was not sealed off inside, and he makes the stop.
What a story Barry Krause is. He missed 12 games in 1986 with that knee, total blowout, and then had that bad infection, staph infection. Here he is back. 2nd and 8 from the 26 for Chicago. This is Anderson. He just glides. First down.
But I tell you, Barry Krause was gliding on that play as well. We got a flag down on the play. Looks like they're going to bring it back. The Bears are trying to run that counter OT, or the counter tray, as the Washington Redskins like to call it.
Holding number 63, 2nd down.
Mike Ditka in his 7th season as head coach. Bears were 11-4 last year. 4th consecutive winning season. First time that's happened since George Halas back in the 50s. Tim Brandt and Dan Jiggets at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. And it is sold out.
And it is hot in here.
They tell us it's climate controlled, 72 degrees, but it feels like it's 90. Wonder if that's for the Bears.
That's the microwave now.
2nd and 18. Plenty of time for McMahon across the middle. And Anderson is nailed. Cliff Odom, an 8-year pro out of Texas Arlington.
Those linebackers for the Colts have been playing exceptionally well. Now, Johnny Cooks is out. He was their #1 draft choice back in about 1981 or so. He is not starting for the Colts now, and that's kind of a surprise, but young kid O'Brien has been playing very well. And Ron Meyer told me earlier before the game, he says that this young kid is outplaying Johnny Cooks. Hasn't been that Johnny hasn't done the job he's done in the past.
So Cooks moves down. O'Brien Alston gets a start. Then they bring in Fred Young from Seattle, the All-Pro, and he obviously will move into that situation when he is comfortable. 7 defensive backs now on 3rd and 15 for the Colts. Shotgun for the Bears. Pressure. Of 9.
Right side of your screen, blitz inside. Anderson has to pick him up. Keith Van Horn does a nice job, but Donnell Thompson came from the other side to get the sack. The blitz was by number 27 Wright. McMahon is smart, though. He kept the ball and took the sack rather than throwing the interception. That's maturity on the part of a quarterback.
So Brian Wagner comes back in to punt from his own end zone. And Clarence Verdant, who is extremely dangerous at the 46.
And believe me, the block is on.
Too much time. The Colts saw it before the officials, I think. The play's dead. Somebody better tell Clarence. Delay of game. The clock had expired. This could put Wagner in the front row.
He'll need a program to punt from up there.
Offense. 4th down.
4th and 28. The ball will be at the 6. And Wagner will be all the way to the back line, just above the A in Indianapolis.
Which A, Tim?
Gets a good punt. It's for Dan at the 44. Good coverage by the Bears. Nonetheless, the Colts will have it at the Bear 36. A 38-yard punt, an 8-yard return. We've got 2 minutes, 53 seconds remaining in the first quarter. We expected a physical ball game, and it has been that thus far.
You know, one of the surprising things, though, is Mike Ditka's reaction to plays and penalties such as that. A couple of years ago, he would have just exploded on the sideline. Now you see him looking at the game in a more rational manner because, number one, he doesn't have to call the offensive plays. He's able to relax and really get into the game and not throw tantrums on the sideline anymore.
Although Mcmahon says Ditka still gets in his plays.
Yeah, he still gets in his tantrums, too.
First down at the 34. This is Dickerson. Big hole left side across the 30 to the 28-yard line of the Bears.
Nice crisp blocking up front by the Colts offensive line. We figured that Eric Dickerson wouldn't get that much yardage up the middle because Mike Singletary's in there. But Dickerson has always been the kind of runner that if you get him in between those tackles and he gets a little bit of a crease, he can break it back very well on you as well.
And again, it was the war of words taking place. Dickerson made the tackle, led the team in tackles last year.
And believe me, I know Dave Dickerson, he will be seeking out Eric Dickerson all day.
Trudeau now has 2nd and 4 at the 28. Lone setback is Dickerson. Cuts inside to the 25-yard line. Singletary and McMichael take him down there. That should break the record, I believe. And move him into 9th place in the all-time rushers of the NFL.
He got a nice trap block by Bennett at that time. That just really sprung him on that defensive end.
3rd down and 1 at the 25 for Indianapolis. Dickerson gets a block on the corner. First down, Colts. Douglas makes the stop. Dickerson gets through where there are no holes. He just seems to slide.
And I know Ron Meyer's thinking, hey, look, we invested a lot in Eric Dickerson. We invested a lot in Fred Young. And the future, you know, everybody's saying down here, well, they're acting like the future is now. Well, in reality, in this league, if you don't win, you're not around to enjoy the fruits of those first-round draft choices anyway. And as Ron Meyer told me earlier, he said, you never know how the first-rounders are going to turn out sometimes anyway. So I got bona fide players.
Dan, Richard Dent has just come into the ball game for the first time this afternoon. First down and 10 at the 20. Backside pressure on Trudeau.
Dan Hampton, they're working real nice up there. Now he's got his buddy Richard Dent back, and it appears that Jack Trudeau is down on the turf.
It is Trudeau. The push came from McMichael and Hampton and Dent. Timeout. We'll take one as well. Jack Trudeau walked off without assistance. And Gary Huggaboom came in as quarterback.
And this is the reason why he needed the assistance, though. First of all, now watch the play. Richard Dent and Dan Hampton. Dan takes an outside rush, number 99. He slips in, puts the pressure on. Now watch Dent come back in along with Steve McMichael for the sack. Good timing on that twist that they ran. It was a delayed twist.
There's Trudeau.
We're going to get another look at it here from another angle. Now watch Dent. He's going to bounce outside with a little outside move. Now come back up underneath. Hampton comes around the outside. Now Joel Patton, 65, does not slide off in time, and he allows Dan Hampton to come around clean.
Gary Huggaboom came in as quarterback. To mixed reviews, there were some boos and some cheers. This is Dickerson on 2nd and 15. And he gets absolutely nothing. Stuffed by Steve McMichael and Jim Morrissey, the linebacker.
And as soon as we can get some word on what was the problem with young Trudeau there, we'll get that word to you as quickly as we can.
And that should do it in the first quarter. So with 15 minutes gone, the Bears lead 7-0.
By U.S. Armed Forces, it's a great place to start. Bud Light, proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. And by Oldsmobile, who invite you to test drive a new Oldsmobile soon at your nearest Oldsmobile dealer.
One period gone, 7-0 Bears. It'll be 3rd and 15, the ball on the 25 for Indianapolis. Gary Hogeboom, the quarterback, Jack Trudeau, we're told, was hit in the ribs, and he may return. 6 defensive backs now in for the Bears. Singletary stays in at linebacker. This is Dickerson to the 21-yard line. And again, it's Dave Dewerson making the tackle.
Boy, but I tell you what, Eric Dickerson put a move on Dan Hampton. That time, all Dan could do was go, ah, shucks, missed that one. Here's a guy that, as they say, can cut on a dime and give you 9 cents change. That was an example of it.
Tell you what, that Bear defense, 25 straight games without having a runner go over 100 yards. Eric Dickerson was the last to do it back in 1986.
Now we got
Biasucci on to attempt the field goal. 38 yards. He's had 14 in a row from inside the 40-yard line, and this one is good as well. So the Colts are on the board. And with 14-14 remaining in the half, it's Bears 7, Colts 3. Yards, it took 3-10. Biasucci with the field goal for Indianapolis. Hogeboom replaces Trudeau, who has bad ribs, and he may return. That guy looks familiar.
I can promise you that's not Gary Hogeboom or Jim
They could use
McMahon.
him in the backfield. It is warm here in the Hoosier Dome. Dan Jiggets and Tim Brandt. Take a look at the touchdown.
Now Jim McMahon pump fakes first. Dennis Gentry bites right there on the numbers. Now he gets Eugene Daniel to take off on that play, and he is wide open to the corner of the end zone.
Gentry and Kozlowski deep for the Bears. This will be Gentry at the 5. With a hole in the middle of the 28-yard line. And again, the Bears will have pretty decent field position to start here with 14:05 remaining in the half. 25-yard return by Gentry. Stop was made by Jeff Herod.
Dennis Gentry is one of those kind of all-purpose players. You can play him in the backfield where he may indeed have to get some playing time today because of Thomas Sanders not being available to play today. You can play him at wide receiver, kick return, punt return, wherever you need him, he's available to do the job for you.
Look at this. Pittsburgh's playing tough. We saw him beat Dallas last week. Now playing tough against the Redskins in Washington. First down at the 30. Big hole on the outside, cuts to the 48-yard line before Mike Pryor can run him out of bounds. Boy, what happened to containment?
Hey, well, they got good blocking out there and got it sealed down inside. Matt Suey had a nice block on the play, and that really sprang him outside. And that was on Dwayne Becker. Watch it here, left side of your screen. Excuse me, right side now. Here we go. Matt Suey there with a nice cut on Bickett. There's the contain. Now the only guy that's back there is Eugene Daniel. He misses the play. Mike Pryor comes over and finally pushes Neil Anderson out of bounds. But the key there was Suey on the cut block on Bickett right at the point of attack.
18-yard pickup. It'll be first down at the 48. Goes right back to what we were talking about earlier. Suey, tough, strong fullback, back to his natural position, and Anderson over to his. McMahon to Anderson. And can't hold him. Thompson finally made the tackle. They had him stopped back there. Hand slid off of him.
One of the things, though, that the here we go with some college football scores from yesterday. Florida State big time over Southern Mississippi.
These two teams haven't met, Dan, since 1976. 23-3 over Furman yesterday for Clemson. 49-13. FSU bounces back after that loss to Miami. Boy, Terry Allen scored twice yesterday for Clemson. Chip Ferguson threw 3 touchdown passes for Florida State. That should be a good one. 2:30 Eastern time next week here on CBS.
I'm sure William Perry's going to keep a close eye on that Clemson game. He's an alumnus.
Good defense that time on 2nd and 11.
Well, one of the things you want to watch as a viewer is that Colts defensive line. Now, they are readers. You see them playing off the line of scrimmage. John Hand and Donnell Thompson will actually move off the line of scrimmage, give the offensive linemen some space. But what they try to do is catch the blocks and then react down the line of scrimmage. And that's how come you don't see them on a real fierce pass rush right away, because they're not concentrating on coming up the field, at least on non-passing downs.
Similar to the Dallas flex.
That's right. They just want to read and see where the ball's going and then react.
Trudeau warming up. We'll probably see him again. Bears 2 for 5 on third down conversions. It's 3rd and 10. 7 defensive backs for the Colts. Somebody moved.
It was Wojo again. Now, one of the
start, number 73.
What Wojo's got to remember working against Israel Johnson is Israel Johnson is a fierce outside pass rusher. So left side of your screen now, if he just sets up there, now you see him moving a little early. He's afraid of Israel Johnson's outside speed. You set up inside, just turn the guy out. You'll have no problem with him, though. But if you start moving around and giving him a little bit of that inside, he'll go outside, tough one, and then come right back up underneath the trap of the quarterback.
Wojciechowski's learning a couple lessons.
Yeah, it's a shame that Jim Colbert isn't there to teach him a few things, too.
It's a shame they're not science. He's a science teacher. 3rd and 15 from the 43. Mcmahon bounces it out to the sideline. It was intended for Ron Morris, incomplete. They'll have to punt. Good coverage down by the Colts. Defense rather basic, playing the base defense, a lot of zone.
Just, bringing those guys up front and making sure that they get a good pass rush on Mcmahon. Don't give him too much time to set up and look.
Wagner to punt for Chicago. Clarence Verdun will be standing on the 17-yard line. Verdun has 4.4 speed. Low snap. They had problems with that last week. This one will take Verdun inside the 10. He too will field it. Down inside the 10, and he's in a whole lot of trouble. Now gets a block. To the 25-yard line, no flags. 50-yard punt, 18-yard return. And with 11:46 remaining in the half, it's 7-3 Bears.
Football is a collision sport. Now watch the circle area here. You're going to see Eugene Daniels giving up 30 pounds to Mickey Pruitt. Take him out on the special teams block. Right there, number 52 goes down. Now Daniels is only 5'11", about 170 pounds, but leverage is everything.
He also took out Dante Jones. He got 2 of them. This is Dickerson. A first down, big hole across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Singletary makes the tackle. Right now, let's go to New York. Here's Brent Musburger. Brent?
Well, Tim, we've got a possible upset brewing in Atlanta. The Falcons lead the Saints now 14-3. Chris Miller, 2 touchdown passes. This one to his wide receiver from Ohio State, Alex Higdon. 14-3 Falcons. Let's go back to Tim.
All right, Brent, they'd be saying, who dat 0-2?
Down in New Orleans.
They don't call it Louisiana anymore. 11:05 remaining in the first half here. 7-3 Bears. This pass is just drilled across the middle, and Bill Brooks makes the catch up near midfield. First down, Indianapolis.
Now, every time Jack Trudeau gets a little time, it gives these receivers an opportunity to just test these cornerbacks of the Bears. Mike Richardson there, he starts to thinking that it's going to be a go pattern. He takes off, and Brooks turns around right on the numbers, a little stop pattern there, and he gets the football. One of the good things for Jack Trudeau is that left side of that offensive line finally this time gave him a little bit of time by blocking Hampton up front.
The streak is alive for Brooks. 30 straight games. He's had a reception. First down in midfield. Dickerson down to the 46-yard line in Bear territory. Hampton makes the tackle.
The frustrating thing against in playing against Eric Dickerson is that he slides and glides through that line of scrimmage, and you don't notice it every time he runs the ball, but you know, you look around, there's 3, 4, 5 yards a clip, and that's where he gains the 200 yards like he did last week. Just a nickel and dime, and then he'll break the big one and get 60 yards.
8 carries, 40 yards for Dickerson. Hank and I were talking to him yesterday, and we were asking him if he had any nicknames. He said, well, growing up, they called me Tricky Dick. The coaches here call me Surf. We said, why Surf? He says, because I glide in and out like I'm on a surfboard. 2nd and 6 from the 46. Trudeau has pressure. Incomplete. It was intended for Albert Bentley.
And Jack Trudeau got pressure from both the defensive line and the secondary on the blitz. He just dumped it off, got rid of it. In that situation, you're probably better off not catching the football as long as it wasn't intercepted. And the blitz was by Dave Dickerson, number 22, for the Chicago Bears. We were talking earlier about that left side of that offensive line for the Colts. Now, they'll face Richard Dent and Dan Hampton over on that side. Now, you're missing 2 All-Pros on that side of the offensive line, and Chris Hinton and also Ron Salter, who's a holdout. So that makes a huge difference when you're going against 2 All-Pros.
3rd and 6 from the 46. Again, there's pressure on Trudeau, and this one's almost intercepted. There's a flag. Mike Richardson had the ball, couldn't hold on. He's acting guilty, though, Dan. You say that's rule number 1.
The little hop. The little hop is what gets you.
And it is against Chicago.
Well, this time, indeed, it may not be Richardson because there was another defender in back of the receiver, and that may have been where the contact was made because Richardson just reacted to the ball.
Well, let's listen to Fred Wyatt. He'll tell us. What do you have, Fred?
Holding number 27, 1st down.
That's Richardson.
That's Richardson.
If they didn't see him, they saw him acting like he was guilty.
It was that little hop. When you do that little hop, they automatically think you're guilty.
See that flag go down. Point to the offensive guy. It's a good call, ref. Yeah. He was in my way. I would have had the interception. 1st and 10 at the 41. Look at that. 2 defending champions. 8 penalties. This is Bentley, big hole right side. And he carries Richardson up near the 1st down marker. Let's go back to New York and Brent Musburger. Brent.
Well, Tim, the 49ers were down 7-0 to the Giants. They kicked a field goal. Then on 2nd and goal, Doug DeVos over the top for the 1-yard touchdown. Extra point good. Now the Niners lead the Giants 10-7. Back to Tim.
All right, Brent, you see the time remaining here in the half, 9:27, and the score 7-3 Chicago. It'll be 2nd down and 1 for the Colts on the 31.
Now, this is a situation where you might want to go for the end zone when you got 2nd and less than a yard. You might want to throw it deep.
Fake to Dickerson. Bentley, he may lose yardage. And he does. Ron Rivera was all over it.
I would call that poor play selection down here. Don't get fancy. If you're going to get fancy, do it towards the end zone. Don't try running reversers and all the rest of that, because a good defense, such as the Bears defense, will always stop plays like that because they're disciplined. They stay where they're supposed to be and don't just run all over the field.
Couldn't agree with you more. 2nd and 1, you know you can go straight ahead and get it, put it up in the air and come back and get it if you don't complete the pass. Timeout, Indianapolis.
This may be one of those new 40-second timeouts. If we don't break for commercial, Indianapolis will only get 40 seconds.
Well, we're going to stay, and you're right. They only have 40 seconds now. It'll bring up 3rd and 2. As you see Meyer talking with Trudeau, and the coaching staff trying to decide what they'll do.
And that's Chip Meyer, the receiver coach down there as well. Used to play for the Cincinnati Bengals. Now they're getting that brain trust together to figure out what's the best play. Do we go now for the 1st down by going towards the end zone because we know we can get a field goal from here? I say get the 1st down first.
Are you a tennis fan?
Oh, absolutely. And this is going to be a great match coming up later today on CBS.
I've got to tell you, I was pulling for Agassi, the young 18-year-old. But what a match we have coming up later today. The men's final. Ivana Lendl, Wilander. That's the way it's supposed to be, isn't it?
That's it.
Down to the 1 and 2 seed.
That's it.
Number 1, Ivana Lendl taking on number 2, Wilander. That's next here on CBS Sports.
Steffi Graf completed the Grand Slam yesterday. by winning the U.S. Open. And that's the first time it's been done by a woman since Margaret Court did it way back, I guess, about 15, 20 years ago.
She had some assistants, had that easy semifinal round.
Yeah, that's right.
Chris, it's not funny. Chris was ill and couldn't compete.
And Gabriella Sabatini had to play Zena Garrison from Houston, and they had a tough match, but Gabriella came up on top. There is Mike Ditka. I'm sure he's not concerned at all about tennis.
Brent's been keeping you up to date on what's happening around the league. Miami and Buffalo deadlocked in the second quarter. How about this one?
Boy,
Pittsburgh. That Bubby Brister Dan is a player.
And this is the second week in a row now that Washington has not played real well. You know, they've had some problems.
He's young, he's brash, he's confident, and he gets the job done. 3rd and 2, Beach and Boyer, 2 tight ends for the Colts. Dickerson's not going to get it. Hampton was there, Richardson was there, and Vesty Jackson.
We talked earlier about the kind of play that you do on 2nd down and short yardage. You go for the end zone if you're going to do anything at all. This time they tried to run a sweep with Eric Dickerson with 3 or 4 yards to go for the 1st down. Now, when you run that sweep, you bring it all the way across the formation. That leaves a lot of opportunity for mistakes. And what happened is Vesty Jackson got in there and made the stop.
Tremendous asset, obviously, having a running back the caliber of Dickerson. But the disadvantage is when it's a tight fit situation, you know he's getting the ball and just key on it. Biasucci on. The holders Ron Stark. 54 yards. It's long enough and it's good. We told you he's 14 in a row from inside the 40. This one from 53.
To those who, with a boundless energy and burning spirit,
72 degrees, much warmer than that. And Biasucci's 53-yard field goal, his longest of his career, has just made it a 7-6 ball game. Any trends you see so far, Dan Jiggins?
Well, one trend that I'm picking up is on the left side of the Colts offensive line. Hampton and Dent have been putting a lot of pressure on Jack Trudeau. That's been causing some problems for them offensively.
This is Kozlowski. We'll keep an eye on that, Dan. Kozlowski out to the 20 and knocked out of bounds there rather rudely. And that's where the Bears offense will take over. Jeff Herrod made the tackle. If you're just joining us, Mcmahon, 35-yard touchdown pass to Dennis Gentry in the first period. 7 plays, 57 yards. The drive, 3-10. It was 7-0 Chicago. Since then, it's been Biasucci for Indianapolis. A field goal of 38 yards, a field goal of 53 yards, and it's 7-6.
And it's been a lot of that guy, Eric Dickerson, up the middle. They have not run him outside, featured him out on the sweeps very much today.
First down at the 22. Morris and Davis, the wide receivers. Suey and Anderson, the setbacks. This is Anderson. Gain of 5, Dwayne Bickett. Number 50 makes the tackle.
The Colts defense has been playing outstanding so far this season. One of the reasons why is they got a little bit more leadership at the nose tackle position than Joe Klecko, number 73. He came over from the Jets. Now you see that little cockeyed stance that he uses there, but see what he does. He pulls Jay Hilgenberg back so the linebackers like Odom 93 are running free, and that's how come he takes that little slant in his stance, because you're able to pick off 2 offensive linemen that way.
What do they say? 2 men on me, somebody's got to be free. Yeah. 2nd and 5 from the 27. This is Suey. And again, it's Bickett.
Jay Hilgenberg hurt his knee on that play, and he was cut by his own man, Neil Anderson, on the play. And he was down holding his knee for a while there.
Good pursuit by Donnell Thompson and Bickett. And Suey may be a little bit shaken up.
Jay will look at the tape and ask Neil Anderson why they cut him.
Hilgenberg, 8-year veteran out of Iowa.
You like people that work hard and work hard for a living and really stick after them. You've got to love Jay Hilgenberg.
6 defensive backs for the Colts on 3rd and 4. backside pressure. O'Brien Alston, the rookie out of Maryland. .6'6", 246 pounds. He's got outstanding quick feet.
And Jim McMahon knew it because he could hear he and Ezra Johnson coming from the weak side.
Wagner averaging 43 yards, and it'll be Clarence Verdun standing at his own 34-yard line. High punt. Verdun will call for the fair catch at the 32.
Clarence Verdun, the guy they call CNN, and the reason why, because he talks all day.
CNN. They've got the Ice was on that team out in Houston with Jim Kelly, Gerald McNeil. Following that baseball race.
Yeah, you know, out in the American League East, that's been a tight one so far.
That game, Boston and Cleveland now in the 4th inning. Detroit leads New York 1-0 in the 2nd inning. That American League East is somebody's going to win that by default.
Now that offensive line over in the Chicago Bears bench, they're all together huddling over there with Dick Stanfield and Mike Ditka, and they are trying to figure out what is going wrong with that offense. They have not been so productive this second quarter.
First down, Bentley. Bentley gets a hole, spins, turns, and gets up to the 36-yard line. Albert Bentley, the 4-year pro out of Miami.
Albert Bentley is a young man that we tried to sign when I was in the USFL, and I'll never forget his first trip to Chicago. It was like the big city, and he was looking at the bright lights, and he was so excited. Now to see him a few years later, quite a few years later, I'm glad to say, and he's really turned into a great pro. Nice block there by Ben Hutt.
Bentley, of course, played for Miami. I was asking him at practice, I said, did you play against Neil Anderson of the Bears? He goes, Anderson, who's he? Is he that wide receiver? 2nd and 5 from the 37. This is Dickerson. Tries to bounce outside, carries a tackler, maybe a yard. Ron Rivera made the stop along with Dan Hampton. It's a doubleheader day of NFC rivalries. The Bears have ruled the Central Division. So the question begs, is it time for the Vikings to overthrow them? And in the East, can the demolition defense of the Giants stop Herschel Walker and the Cowboys? You can find out next Sunday here on CBS Sports. Doubleheader day. Giants in Dallas. We'll be out in Atlanta. We're out in San Francisco for the Atlanta-San Francisco game. And Atlanta giving New Orleans all it can handle this afternoon. 3rd and 2 from the 40.
Bears have a blitz on defensively.
Trudeau sends Brooks down to the bottom of your screen. Now throws underneath to Dickerson, incomplete.
One of the things that the Colts have been trying to do is throw the football more to Eric Dickerson to change up the offense a little bit. But when you get a blitz like that, Trudeau knows he's got to dump it off very quickly. And that time, Eric Dickerson just wasn't ready to make the reception.
Trudeau is now only 1 of 6 for 14 yards. And the Colts are 1 for 5 on 3rd down conversions. So Ron Stark comes on. He boomed that first one. Dennis McKinnon will be the deep man for Chicago. He's standing on the 15. He's given Stark a lot of room. He doesn't get this one to turn over. It'll hit at the 23, but gets that roll and goes out of bounds at the 17-yard line.
That's when you feel that Dennis McKinnon probably should have fielded. Ron Stark is an excellent punter, though, and that's why he's been to a few Pro Bowls in his lifetime.
Not a bad day's work, huh? 53-yard punt, a 44-yard punt.
Yeah, but the wind was with it.
Hey, it's getting a little bit cooler in here now. They may have turned that Climatrol back on. I like that word, Climatrol.
Yeah, that means it's hot when you're the opposition. Look at that Pittsburgh score, still on top of Washington by 3.
You know, Doug Williams has never won a regular season game for Washington. 4 minutes, 22 seconds remain in the half. First down and 10, ball on the 16. 3-step drop from Mcmahon. This was complete to McKinnon, close to a first down. Knocked out of bounds by Willie Tullis.
What you'll see many times defensively is people giving Dennis McKinnon a lot of respect because he still has speed to beat you deep. Now watch Willie tell us here. He's going to give away the outside. Dennis breaks off very quickly. It's about a 3-yard out. Now he takes it up the rest of the way. That's what a veteran receiver will do for you. Start setting up that defensive back. Before long, he'll give him that out and then straight up the field.
2nd and 1. This is Bentley to the 30.
It's Thomas Sanders right off that right side. Now, he had a rib problem earlier in the week, and they didn't think that he was going to be available to play. But you know how it is when game day comes around, things start feeling a little bit better.
The difference between pain and injury.
Yeah, and there's Freddie Young coming off the field. He came over in the trade from Seattle, as we mentioned earlier. All-pro linebacker. Really gained his reputation on special teams, though, Tim.
Again, it's Sanders and Suey in the backfield. And again, it's Sanders. Bangs his way out to the 37-yard line. Mike Pryor makes the tackle there. Wonder if Neil Anderson's all right.
That's one thought, and the other thought is that Dennis Gentry could fill in at that halfback spot for Thomas Sanders if Thomas indeed does feel that that rib problem is bothering him too much. But last week he had an awfully good day, and then you see Neil Anderson over in the sideline, helmet off. They like to give him a little bit of a break every now and then. It's part of Johnny Rowland's scheme of things, and you see Johnny Rowland, he's the running back coach for the Bears.
Sanders 2 carries, 12 yards for his career. He averages 6 yards per carry. 2nd and 4. Sanders gets a block. Cut down by Barry Krause, well short of the first down.
Barry Krause, he's like Father Time down here. Now watch him on the isolation. Again, no inside pursuit, so that allows those linebackers to run over and pursue the play. There you see Thornton missed the block on Krause, and Krause comes up with a nice play.
How about this? 10 seasons for Barry Krause, 6 head coaches, 6 defensive coordinators, 2 cities, and only 1 team.
He's ready to move into the head coaching ranks now.
Of course, the Baltimore Colts moved out here to Indianapolis. 3rd and 2. Sanders, first down, Chicago. Dwayne Bickett got there to make the tackle, but he wasn't in time to stop him before he got the first down.
Boy, I tell you what, there were 2 key blocks on that play. Matt Suey cut down Dwayne Bickett outside again. And, man, I tell you what, the block that Jay Hilgenberg has right in the middle of your screen on number 73, Joe Klecko. Look at that block. Now watch him go down for the cut. All right, we missed that one, but there you see Suey cutting outside. 2 beautiful blocks that really set that play up very nicely.
Getting into this.
Oh, yeah, I love that offensive line blocking, you know.
Hey, guys, send a helmet to the booth. Dan's ready.
Between all horses on that offensive and defensive line, sometimes there's a lot of fun to watch. Jay Hilgenberg, number 63 on the Bears offensive line. Watch him against Joe Klecko. Nice block there. He gets that turn on Klecko. Now watch, he blocks. Now he gets that cut. You wonder how come those plays work up inside. That's the reason why you have an all-pro at center.
I'll tell you what, that's a great play by Bickett, though, to make that tackle. First down and 10 at the 43. McMahon, the quick out to McKinnon. And he's up to midfield.
Let's keep an eye on Dennis McKinnon. That's the 2nd out that he's run on Willie Tullis. Now let's see if we get that out and up.
Of course, Willie Tullis, an 8-year vet, you know, he's not going to bite on that thing quickly. Yeah, I don't think.
But if you keep getting burned on that little out, you know, it disgusts you as a defensive back. And finally you say, I'm going to come up and stop him this time. And the time that you bite on it is the time that they've got the out and up on.
McMahon's been sharp, 10 of 15, 82 yards when he's had time. Let me update that Boston-Cleveland baseball score. It's 1-1 in the 5th. 2nd and 3 from midfield for the Bears. Intercepted. And down. They're going to give him the interception, say he was down. It's Dwayne Bickett.
most disgusted guy in the house if he'd have dropped that ball would have been Dwayne Bickett because it was thrown directly to him. End zone replay here. Watch McMahon. He looks over on the right side, doesn't see anything there. Sees his receiver Thornton coming around, but he does not see Bickett, who's standing right in front of him. He thought Dwayne Bickett had taken off to the sideline, apparently, and he was standing right in the path of the football.
The ground cannot cause a fumble. The interception stands. Colts have the ball. 1st and 10 at the 42.
That's an interesting rule. The ground cannot cause a fumble. I don't know whoever said that one.
That's his 4th career interception. 1:48 remaining in the half.
Watch Richard Dent right in the middle of your screen. He may come back out on pass coverage, number 95.
Trudeau with pressure, and he almost throws the interception. You were watching Dent. He almost had one.
Well, that's what they do. They'll put that defensive end and that 46 defense in a spy technique, and if it's a pass indeed, he will drop back and cover a receiver, even Matt Boozer, number 85, out of the backfield. And then you see Dent trying to react and get back to the pass. Maybe if he had those other 2 days of practice, he might have had that one on the pick.
It's hard to believe anybody can move that well when he's 6'5", 274.
I tell you, though, when he came into the league, he was about 240 pounds, needed to get fed, and they had to fix his teeth, believe it or not, so he could eat more food, and now he's grown into a big defensive end.
It's a heck of a story. 2nd and 10 from the 42.
Too long.
Well, no, it's not too long. There's still 6 seconds remaining on the clock. We've got 1:43 remaining in the half.
Ball start, number 65, 2nd down.
Okay, so that's Joel Patton in his first NFL start. Here's another one. He's 305 pounds.
Yeah, 6'7". You know, Joel Patton played very well in the USFL. One of the things he did extremely well was run block. He had problems with pass protection, and he's still having some problems down here just in terms of switching off on the pass protection.
Talking about Dent and his eating habits.
Yes.
Joel Patton told me yesterday he put on 80 pounds since he left Duke. That's a whole nother person.
Yeah, just don't get William Perry next to him so they can discuss recipes.
I'll tell you, William's a little bit touchy about that.
Yeah, but he's come down a great deal. He looks very good now.
2nd and 15, backside pressure in the sack for Dent. He had 13.5 sacks last year.
Richard Dent puts real strong outside pressure in. Now watch, the guy that's going to try to block him is number 29. That's Eric Dickerson, because Patton is beaten right now. And there's Eric Dickerson around the back. He didn't see him, actually. He was trying to block a linebacker, Rivera. But Joel Patton just got beaten right now off the line of scrimmage by Richard Dent.
We asked Richard yesterday about his matchup with Joel Patton. And, you know, he didn't answer us. He just smiled. That's a bad sign if you're the offensive tackle.
Well, I know a lot of defensive ends used to smile when they knew they had to play against me, but every now and then I'd cut their legs. That'd take a little bit of that gas out of their laughter.
Don't forget, with 1:39 remaining in the half here, we'll take you back to New York at halftime with Brent, Irv, and Dick Quutkus. They'll have all the scores and highlights for you. And a report from the U.S. Open and the men's final this afternoon. Ivana Lendl, Wilander. Who do you like there?
I like Ivan Lendl. He's been playing fairly well, and Wilander I don't think is going to be able to take him on the hard court. Maybe on grass he can, but not on the hard court.
Chicago loads up now with 6 defensive backs. Loss of 8 on that sack. It'll be 3rd and 23 for Indianapolis. This is Dickerson and Dickerson, and they go out of bounds together.
You'll notice a similarity between the running style of Eric Dickerson and that of Thomas Sanders. Both of them are stand-up, very quick runners who slash and burn you inside.
I don't think he had any choice to stay in bounds. He would have liked to stay in bounds, run that clock down, keep it moving. But Dickerson rode him out with 1:34, stops the clock. Ron Stark now on the punt. He's having a productive day. McKinnon will stand on his own 20. Here comes the pressure. High spiraling punt will take McKinnon back to the 14. And he's surrounded. O'Brien Alston, the rookie, is playing one fine football game.
Yeah, and if you're the kick return man, we used to call that getting slow walk when the guy catches you back from behind. And that time O'Brien Alston grabbed Dennis McKinnon by the back of his jersey.
Of course, Stark gave him a lot of help with a 51-yard punt and stayed up there forever.
And watch him on the left side of your screen. He's just going to track down Dennis there and just yank him down from behind. Now, Dennis won't live that one down in the tape room later on in the week.
Sure, but O'Brien has arms that are 4 feet long.
No excuse.
1:21 remaining in the half. Dan Jiggins and Tim Brand at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. It's the Bears 7, the Colts 6. First down, Chicago at the 19. Anderson to the 24-yard line. Terry Wright makes the tackle there.
Bears in their hurry-up offense now. It's strange to run a draw play in the hurry-up offense, but sometimes it's open for you.
Now they go with 7 defensive backs. 2nd and 4. Incomplete. It was intended for McKinnon. That stops the clock with 59 seconds remaining in the half, and it'll bring up 3rd and 4. No question what's going to take place, or what the Colts expected to take place. They thought McMahon was going up top, so they brought in Tullis, Good, Robinson, Pryor, Ball, Daniel, and Wright. Everybody they had that's a defensive back, they put him in the game.
All the track stars are out there. Bringing one of them on a blitz now. Nope, pull him out.
Gentry has the first down and gets out of bounds and stops the clock at 53 seconds. Bickett ran him out there.
And you see Dennis Gentry just got a word from Greg Landry. Greg Landry, by the way, is now calling the offensive plays for the Chicago Bears. There you see him right in the middle of your screen there. Former quarterback with the Detroit Lions and a host of other teams. He's out of the University of Massachusetts. But Mike Ditka is giving all the play calling responsibility to Greg in conference with Ed Hughes, their offensive coordinator.
Played for George Allen in the USFL. 1st and 10 on the 32. Anderson to the 40. Out to the 47-yard line. Tullis makes the tackle there. Still 45 seconds remaining on the clock, and there's timeout Chicago.
Yeah, they didn't waste any time getting that timeout call. As soon as Neal hits the ground, there was 46 seconds left when he hit the ground, and 45 they stopped the clock. So that gives them an opportunity now to sit back and analyze what they want to do. If they're running tight on time, they'll try to go for the field goal, get down to maybe about the 30-yard line or so, and that way they'll give Kevin Butler an opportunity to try to make the field goal. And there you see Ron Meyer talking with Mike Pryor, his defensive back and the captain of the defense, along with George Hill, who strangely enough recruited me at Ohio State as a defensive lineman.
What happened? You went to Harvard.
Yeah, I made a beeline to Harvard. So I ended up with 2 B's.
Just to update you on Butler, the Bears kicker, he was 0 for 2 last week, 1 blocked from 40 and 44 yards, the attempts. He's hit 19 in a row from inside the 40. That's where McMahon wants to get him. With 45 seconds left, first down at the 48. Backside pressure. Ron Morris has the completion up at the 36-yard line.
McMahon checked off on that play. I saw the offensive lineman turning around to make sure that they got the next play. He was running away from backside pressure again, coming from his left side.
Clock continues to move. 23 seconds. McMahon almost intercepted. Eugene Daniel got his hand on the ball but couldn't make the catch. McMahon got a break there, but the pressure came from Freddie Robinson on a safety blitz.
Eugene Daniel had nice coverage over there. Jim had to dump the ball off very quickly because of inside pressure.
So the clock stops at 17 seconds remaining in the half. It'll be 2nd and 10. The ball on the 38. And our score 7-6 Chicago. Again, there's pressure. And there's a flag. It's going to be on Daniel. Good call.
Yeah, that was a nice call. He knew Wendell Davis had him beat down to the end zone, and Wendell made that little adjustment towards the sideline. Eugene simply ran into him.
11 seconds remain in the half.
Pass interference. Defense. First down.
The key on this call is to watch Eugene Daniel and watch where he's looking. If he's looking back at the football, he's going to be okay. But if he's looking at that receiver when he bumps him like he is there, that's when you're going to see the flag come out.
You were talking about how they were setting that play up with McKinnon. No question Daniel took the bite here. Actually, a good play by Daniel. He was beaten and took the flag instead of the touchdown.
That's it, and I think any coach will say, hey, look, if you're going to get burned for the touchdown, at least do something to prevent that guy from getting to the end zone.
No question about it. Had he not chucked him there, I'm convinced it would have been a touchdown because the ball was only a step in front of it. Incomplete when he finally got there. 11 seconds remain in the half. First down at the 16. Davis, Gentry, McKinnon, and Morris, the receivers for Chicago. Mcmahon drops the ball.
Pressure there by Robinson, but what happened was McMahon, just as he was drawing back to throw the football, got hit by his fullback. Watch on the replay. Watch the fullback, or Neil Anderson maybe it is, come up and bump the ball out of McMahon's hand just as he's drawn back to throw. Then Neil Anderson gets a great block on Robinson, but he hits Jim McMahon's hand. Here you got to look at it ground level. Watch middle of your screen. Jim McMahon drops back, just draws back the pass, and Neil takes it out. But Jim McMahon had the alertness of mind to jump back on that football.
Well, I'll tell you what, after Anderson knocked the ball loose, so he knocked Robinson right on his derriere. He knows the difference between come here and sick him. Second and 16. The ball on the 22. There are now 3 seconds remain as Butler comes on. The field goal attempt will be from exactly 40 yards. Tomczak, the holder. No question about it. And that's how the half will end. So the only touchdown, McMahon to Dennis Gentry. Tubiasushi field goals, and that one by Butler. It's 10-6 Bears at the half.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Michelob. Michelob is a proud sponsor of the 1988 U.S. Olympic team. Pontiac, we build excitement. And by American Airlines, something special in the air. And by Coors Light with a silver bullet. It's the right beer now.
All set to start the second half. Bears 10, Colts 6. And we're witnessing history. Dan Jiggets, see that? You show up, and look what happens. Largest crowd ever to watch an event at the Hoosier Dome. 60,503.
I tell you, Indianapolis, the whole city of Indianapolis is sports crazy. You figure the Pan Am games down here earlier in the year, and all the sports facilities that they've built in this city. It's incredible. They had the NC2As down here in the Hoosier Dome, as a matter of fact, one of the regionals. This place just loves sports.
I've always thought it interesting when they tell you the capacity is 60,127, and yet they've got 60,503 in here.
Those are some of those people standing on the ramps.
With the fire marshal. Colts start things off, flags fly, as Bentley brings it back to the 28-yard line. We'll wait to see what the penalty is.
It is so difficult as a coach to teach young people not to push in the bag.
Holding number 59, 10 yards, first down.
It's almost a natural reaction when a guy beats you and you're supposed to block him on special teams. You tend to grab a hold of him, and that time it was Lowry who grabbed a hold of one of the defenders for the Bears. And what you do is you grab a hold of them because they're beating you on the block, and you don't want to look bad on the tape. So the end result is you get a penalty.
4-year player out of Ohio State. Keep you up to date on the baseball scores as well. Cleveland and Boston tied at 2 in the 7th inning. We're keeping track of that AL East race. Just underway, second half. Tim Brandt, Dan Jiggets, 1st and 10 Colts.
Richard Dennis in that stand-up position again.
A gain of about, well, he may have lost a yard. McMichael makes the tackle.
But the key was Richard Dent in that stand-up position again. Watch him come now, tough inside. Now he's got to be backed by a blocked by a back, and there's just no way this is going to happen. He meets Bentley back in the backfield just as Bentley gets the handoff. I'll get that out sooner or later.
We'll repeat that they're moving Dent from side to side this year. They want him on the open side to keep Perry on that tight end side to be effective against that double team.
He definitely draws the double team.
He can handle it too. Talk about people playing a lot of different positions. He plays about 3 and doesn't move. Takes up that space. 2nd and 11. This ball almost intercepted.
Jim Morrissey had that one, and he was in the end zone already in his mind, and he tripped over Mike Singletary. Now Mike Singletary ran into a little trouble inside. Watch the official pick him off. Mike's reacting to the play. Now he runs back and he runs into the official, and now he tries to avoid Jim Morrissey.
That official is part of the field.
That's right. And you run over him if he's in your way.
Or if you're a receiver, use him as a pick. Colts only 1 of 6 third down conversions this afternoon. This is 3rd and 11 here.
Atlanta is still leading New Orleans.
A lot of pressure. Trudeau throws underneath. Vesty Jackson, is it? I thought the ball bounced. They're going to give him the interception. Vesty Jackson with the interception. It was intended for Bill Brooks.
And Bill Brooks was hanging over him. He's choking Vesty as he's walking away with the football. Vesty Jackson made a nice reaction, though. Watch him now. Tight man-to-man coverage. He comes back to the ball better than the receiver does. Gets a nice jam there. He sees the football coming and reacts to it. But it looked like it bounced on the turf right there on the yard mark.
Boy, I'll tell you, I thought so.
Well, we're going to see this one is going to be reviewed, I'm sure.
Look at that shot. Well, his hands are under it, though. Does he have possession? Does he have control?
Well, he scoops it there.
That's a catch.
Yes, it is. I agree.
They're going to review it, I believe.
Well, what the key was, I guess, is his hands are underneath of the football.
Well, now they say it's not a catch. Incompleted pass.
That just goes to show you that those replay officials do not listen to us.
Watch this. You tell me his hands aren't under it,
Now,
Dan.
the key is, now look and see right there on the 30-yard mark now. See, look at the hands going down to the turf. He scoops it up, but the tip of the ball hits the turf. That's what it is. That tip rolled over and hit the turf before he had full possession.
We'll also tell you that I said I thought it was a catch, then I said it wasn't a catch, and we have the instant replay here, so that's how difficult it is down on the field. Ron Stark now to punt. For the Colts, Dennis McKinnon is deep for the Bears, and he'll be at the 37-yard line. The officials really doing a fine job.
You figure they have to do it at full speed, and they have to make those calls.
High, wobbly punt. Tail wagger will be taken at the 36. McKinnon gives ground, looks for a block. To the 44-yard line. 38-yard punt. 21-yard return. We'll be back.
Legendary Mercedes-Benz.
He's after his heart, too.
I'll tell you what, he's had a few of those hot dogs. But he's having fun at the ballpark, and that's what's important. The Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, the largest crowd to ever witness an event here. It'll be 1st down and 10, ball on the 43-yard line for Chicago. The Bears lead 10-6. This is Anderson. Nice block by Suey. And nice move by Anderson. And he picks up 2.
I tell you what, Willie Tullis is still looking for Neil Anderson on about the 45-yard line. He hasn't found him yet. One of the things that's happening, though, Neil Anderson is getting some nice crisp blocking by Matt Suey. Donnell Thompson that time tried to make the play, but see, Suey is a great blocking fullback, as we mentioned before. Now, he may try to get some help in there from Brad Muster, the #1 draft choice out of Stanford, but Brad Muster has been having some problems keeping the plays in his mind and making sure he knows what he's doing. Matt Suey, on the other hand, is an old pro and knows what the heck to do.
Muster out of Stanford. That's the Harvard of the West, isn't it?
That's right.
2nd and 8. Mcmahon. First down and then some. Nice move by Ron Morris to the 27-yard line, and Willie Tullis makes the tackle.
You know, in basketball, they have pick plays. Now in football, they call them rubs. Now watch these 2 receivers. Watch them run a pick here and take off that defensive back, number 42, Tullis. There you see the pick. Ron Morris comes up underneath, and he makes the reception. Now tries to do a little shake and bake there, and then is fairly successful at it. But that's what they use, those rubs. They call them rubs, and you get those guys coming off underneath, and you're set.
It's a rub because a pick's illegal.
That's right. Look at McMahon's numbers on first down. That's exceptional.
This a first down play is Suey. The 9-year veteran out of Penn State picks up a bunch. It'll bring 2nd and 5. Don't forget, coming up next Saturday, college football on CBS, Florida State and Clemson. Now, Florida State came back after that loss from Miami, evened its record at 1-1. Clemson 2-0. Allen had a couple touchdowns yesterday. Ferguson threw 3 for Florida State. That's all next week on CBS. 2nd and 5. Anderson to the 17-yard line.
Well, I tell you what, Neil Anderson is running strong up the middle, and here's a guy that's strong up the middle, and that's Dan Hampton. He's been playing real tough in the center of that Bears defensive line, putting a lot of pressure on Jack Trudeau, along with Steve McMichael, number 76. And Richard Denny's even so cool, he's got his visor on in here.
Anderson now. Dan has 11 carries, 61 yards. Dent was very philosophical yesterday when we talked to him about the problems of the past week. First down and 10, ball on the 17. McMahon looks to the corner, incomplete. Ron Morris started to run the out pattern and stopped, and McMahon just threw it away. Eugene Daniel was the man covering.
Yeah, he just broke off the pattern. I'm not quite sure why. And here comes Jim Thornton. They call him RoboCop because he looks like RoboCop. Bench presses 500 pounds, runs a 4.6 40. Anything else you can ask of a tight end?
Not that I would ask for.
You look at those arms and it scares those defensive backs.
I'll tell you what's scary. The quarterbacks are bigger than I am now. 2nd down and 10. Anderson. And he loses a couple. Donnell Thompson got there first, big number 99, and was assisted again by Freddie Robinson, who's playing a marvelous game out of the strong safety spot.
And Donnell Thompson is playing a heck of a game too. Here you see the situation substitution, passing situation. You know Indianapolis is going to send in 4 defensive backs. They'll have 7 in total, and they'll bring out all of those linebackers, save 1. And here out comes Bickett, stays in, and here comes Odoms, and number 73 Klecko comes off the nose as well.
They call it their 40 nickel package. They've got 6 defensive backs in there. Bickett, the down lineman, as Dan just said. 3rd and 13. Anderson, and there is a flag, kills the play before it begins. You know what? I know he only took about 5 steps, but he looked like he was going to pass to me.
He sure did. It looked like a halfback pass. And speaking of killing the play, I think if Neil Anderson had gotten that football, John Hand might have killed him on that sideline. See Mike Ditka still staying calm now on the sideline and recognizes the fact that there's a penalty, but you don't see him throwing the clipboard. That's how come they took it away from him.
Again.
He's working on that gum now. But I tell you, when you look into those eyes, those blue eyes of his, that could scare any immortal.
You know, I didn't get a chance to do that yesterday. We sat there for 15 minutes and he just stared at the football game that was on television, never looked at us. 3rd and 18, ball on the 25. Underneath to Anderson. Nice play on the corner by Mike Pryor.
Mike Pryor is one of the leaders in interceptions last year in the AFC. Played that one extremely well. Nice pressure on the blitz by number 47 Robinson. And Jim McMahon unloaded the football up underneath. Pryor was intercepted 6 passes last season.
Led the Colts in that department. Kevin Butler. You saw the success that he has had inside the 40. This, a 37-yarder. Plenty of distance, but it looks like he's off to the right. He is. And the crowd here loves it. It's 10-6, and the Colts have the ball.
AT&T has just made Watts a whole new ball game for any size business. Pick from a lineup of plans that give you call detail, distance-sensitive pricing, and major league discounts, even on international and AT.
10-6, Bears over the Colts. 8:45 remaining in the 3rd period. Tim Brandt, Dan Jiggets, and this is Dickerson. To the 37-yard line. Dickerson makes the tackle. Perry got a piece of him as well. Good pursuit by Perry.
Pure cutback on this play, though. This play was designed to go to the left side. Now watch Eric Dickerson break it back. He recognizes the fact that Ron Rivera, number 59, is out of position. He comes back around the right side, takes off running, but William Perry, number 72, is hot on the tracks.
And there's Dave Dickerson as well.
There's Dave.
17-yard pickup. It'll be first down at the 37. Again, it's Dickerson. Slices his way out to the 44-yard line.
We were talking before about Eric Dickerson and his running style where he nickel and dimes you to death. And that time he got a little bit more than a nickel, about 7 yards. And that's the way he runs the football. But as you end up at the end of the football game, he'll have 200 yards and you don't know how.
Frustrates you as a defensive player as well. You know he's getting the ball. All you have to do is get there. Chicago 15 first downs, Indiana just 4. Second and 4, again it's Dickerson. And he may have gotten a yard, and that's it. Hey, don't forget, coming up next on CBS Sports, the U.S. Open Men's Tennis Championship Final featuring the 2 top seeds. Lendl and Wilander. That's all next here on CBS.
Possibility of that one being a straight set victory for Ivana Lendl, Tim?
No, no shot. 5-set match. Third and 3 at the 44. Colts just 1 of 7 on 3rd down conversions. Trudeau with a lot of pressure has to throw it away. And the sad part about that is Boozer was wide open.
Yeah, but so was Maurice Douglas, number 37 on the blitz. Unfettered, as they say. He came in on the blitz. Strong safety blitz. Watch the top of your screen. Number 37, Maurice Douglas, comes in untouched. He's not, there's no running back there to block him because Dickerson's coming on the other side. And Mo lays one on Jack Trudeau. He get it from another angle. Now watch Trudeau. He doesn't even have time to set up before Douglas is in on him. And he gets the almost sack.
Trudeau now has missed his last 6 passes. He's 1 for 10, 14 yards. This is Ron Stark to punt. Boy, he gets a high spiraling punt, turns over nicely. McKinnon bobbles it at the 5. Why, Dan? Why field it inside the 10?
Well, I tell you, that's supreme confidence in your ability to run it back, but occasionally it gets you in a lot of trouble. Now, Dennis McKinnon's trying to play center fielder here. Gets the ball, bobbles it, takes his eye off of it for just a bit. Should never have tried to catch that football.
51-yard punt, 6:20 remaining in the third period. A record crowd at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. And although Chicago appears to be dominating between the 20s, it's only 10-6. And right now the Bears are backed up. This is Anderson.
One of the things the Bears are always trying to concentrate on offensively, at least, is time of possession. They've kept that advantage in this game. There you see about 23, almost 24 minutes, as opposed to Indy's 14, almost 15 minutes. Excuse me.
Of course, Chicago has always been a possession offense with Peyton, now Anderson. They've always been near the top of time of possession. Last week, 31 more minutes they had the ball than Miami had.
But one of the reasons why is if you run the football a lot, you're going to get a lot of time of possession if you're successful running the ball.
2nd and 8 from the 7. Mcmahon to Suey. Nice move on the 10. First down, Chicago. Fred Young had good position, couldn't keep his feet, fell to the fake.
Yeah, I think his feet were still in Seattle that time because he didn't react at all to Matt Suey. Matt Suey shook him to the ground with a nice little shake move and then took off upfield. Say, Matt Suey, I was joking with him the other day. I said, you're like the phoenix. You keep rising from the ashes. And he goes, yeah, he was coloring his hair with a little Grecian formula because he's that prematurely gray.
Now, you're not supposed to tell those stories. Fred Young comes back out. Young flew all night, got here Friday morning. That trade with Seattle for 2 #1 draft picks in '89 and '90. 5-year contract. It'll be first down at the 17. McMahon with pressure. Wisely throws that one at the feet of Neil Anderson, and it'll bring up 2nd down. You know what Fred Young told us yesterday? That he had told Mike McCormick last Saturday that it had gone on long enough and I'm retiring from football. And he says it's not a ploy. I've given it thought. I've played football all my life, but now I'm ready to go on to something else. I'm walking away from the game.
Now here's Jay Hilgenberg working against Darby. Watch him inside. Watch he and Bortz just take Darby down to the ground. That's what you call strong arms. See how they just throw those guys down to the turf? Kind of like that. I like that number that Bortz is wearing as well. It's my old number.
It's amazing they didn't retire it.
Yeah. Hall of shame.
2nd and 10. Out across the 20 to the 22-yard line goes Anderson. That'll bring up 3rd and 10. Or a correction.
Here comes the Bears wide
3rd
receivers. And here comes the Colts substitutions as well on defense. So you see those 3 defensive backs coming in, and Israel Johnson, who's the pass rush specialist.
Situation substitution, you mentioned that. It's like a chess match now. The coaches trying to mix things up as they bring in Pryor, Ball, Wright, Daniel, Robinson, and Tullis.
And there's Jim Thornton, RoboCop. He's over on a bench with a little injury. Sure they'll get a little grease and get him ready again, RoboCop.
3rd and 6. McMahon to the flats, and they aren't going to get it. Gentry will be way short of the first down. They'll have to punt. Chris Good made the tackle.
That was an exceptional play, too, because he played it directly to the sideline and kept up with Gentry.
Another one of those players from Alabama.
Well, you know, in those tough down situations, you know that the only thing that receiver has in mind is getting to the first down. So you just play him to the sideline and shut it down.
Brian Wagner will be punting to Clarence Verdun, and Verdun standing on his own 38. So the Colts will have good field position out of this, I assume. This is a wobbly kick. It'll hit at the 45, take a Colt bounce. I'll tell you something, that's a dangerous play.
It's a dangerous
play, and I'll tell you why. Willie Tullis may have hit it with his foot.
And there's a flag down on the play.
He was awfully close.
There is a flag on the play, and it's all the way back at the line of scrimmage. And it's against the Bears.
Was I seeing things, or did Tullis try to throw a block and come dangerously close to the ball?
And that's why if you're going to throw a block, you try to move up from the ball to throw your block and maybe cut the defensive man into the ball. But don't do it right in front of where that ball's going to land, especially on AstroTurf.
So they'll march it back and back the Bears up. That was only a 32-yarder.
Illegal motion, number 88, 4th down.
That's Kozlowski.
The Cos, they call him. Now, Brian Wagner has had a couple of poor punts in a row, and I'm sure that he knows there's a little bit of pressure on him because Mike Ditka, as we said earlier, did have 4 punters in camp earlier this week competing for Brian's job.
Well, his average is 42.8. They have had problems here. I can't say that they are fully confident in his punting ability. The snaps have been shaky at times. Last week, they had problems.
I believe the Colts have a block on this kick. Let's see if they do.
He's standing at the 2.
They're going for it.
Again, it's an end-over-end punt. It'll be taken by Verdun at the 42. Fair catch. A 40-yard punt, and with 3 minutes and 29 seconds remaining, 3rd quarter, it's 10-6. Barber is in Seattle.
I'm glad you used that line. He'll come looking for you.
Oh, it's a good-looking haircut. Tim Brandt, Dan Jiggets. And I believe the longer the Bears allow the Colts to stay in this game, the tougher it's going to be in that 4th period.
Absolutely, because then the Colts may get productive offensively. If Jack Trudeau does anything at all exciting, then they're going to be in big trouble in the 4th quarter.
No question, statistically, Chicago has been dominant, but the score 10-6. Straight ahead for Dickerson. Rivera makes the tackle. You're right, it doesn't look like anything's there, and he gets up, and it's a 5-yard gain.
Well, I tell you what, the thing that happens with Eric Dickerson, though, is the more he runs the football, when he starts getting a little tired in that 4th quarter, granted, that's when he says he likes to run the football, but he does tend to put it on the ground then. And we'll look for him fumbling late in the 4th quarter.
Colts have only 1 first down on the last 4 possessions. Had to punt all 4 times. It'll be 2nd down and 6. They gave him 4 yards on that last play. Bears show blitz. This is Dickerson. Breaks 1 tackle and picks up 2 more yards. So that'll bring up 3rd and 4.
And here comes the situation substitution again. Tate coming in along with Crum, number 44, for the Bears defensively. And there you see Boyer. He's into the game as another tight end for the Colts.
Bellini comes out. Bentley comes out for the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis has not been successful this afternoon in this situation. Pump fake going up top deep. It's for Dan. Yard pickup, and Verdun just ran by Mike Richardson.
Clarence Verdun had Mike Richardson beat from the snap of the football. Watch left side of your screen. You're going to see him give him a little shake move inside, and then he's gone on the pump fake. Jack Trudeau took a page out of Jim McMahon's book on that pump fake and got those defensive backs to bite on it.
1st and goal at the 4. Dickerson to the 2-yard line.
One of the guys that plays strong inside for the Bears defense is Mike Singletary, number 50. Now look at those arms moving. He's got the legs moving. Look how big his eyes are. You can see him from there. Now watch him come over and chase Eric Dickerson down to the sideline. He's one of those kind of players. He plays everywhere on the field.
Kevin Call, the right tackle, Dan, 6'7", 302-pound, 5-year veteran, did not get up.
Well, he's laying motionless down on the field. And there, finally, they're moving that leg a little bit.
While we have a chance, let us remind you of the doubleheader next week on CBS. The Bears have ruled this Central Division seemingly forever. And the question is it time for the Vikings to make their presence felt? And in the East, can the demolition defense of the Giants stop Herschel Walker and the Cowboys? We'll find out next Sunday on CBS Sports. It's a doubleheader day. The Rams and Raiders, Atlanta and San Francisco. All part of that doubleheader here on CBS as they continue to walk and work on Kevin Call.
And not only are they working on Kevin Call, but they were working on Dan Hampton. He was getting some more support put on his ankle. If you look at his ankle, you see that tape on it. They call those spats. And what the defensive lineman will do is tape those ankles up so that just in case they have to bend and twist a little bit more, that gives you that little extra support that that you'll need, especially on AstroTurf.
You know, before Kevin Call's up now, before Ron Meyer came to the Colts, spats were not allowed in this organization.
Yeah, winning wasn't either.
Then Ron Meyer got here. They won 3 straight. The last 3 games of the season came the AFC champs in their eastern part of the conference.
Bears are in their goal line defense now. You see those 5 down defensive linemen. Dick Shapiro, number 94, has come in along with Al Harris, number 90. That's one of the adjustments they'll make down on the goal line. Get those big people up front. 5 of them altogether. 6, excuse me.
And Jamie Morris has just scored for the Redskins from 1 yard out. It's 19-17, Pittsburgh.
Now you have to wonder if the Colts are going to try to run over that right side where Kevin Call just came out from.
2nd and goal from the 3. Play action. Incomplete, interference. Singletary is really hot. Baldinger, 62, was eligible. Singletary had coverage, but interfered.
Well, Mike forgot the Cardinal rule now this year in the pass interference play is that even if it's an offensive lineman, you still got to respect the fact that you've got to look at the ball and not the receiver when you're going to make the play, especially down here in the end zone. Mike never turns around to look for the football, and that's why he gets the penalty on the play. And Baldinger, an offensive lineman, see, they always know how to call for a play.
While we were talking about that, Dean Biasucci, the kicker of the Colts, came out on the field. But it's 1st down and goal at the 1. And Dickerson's not going to make it. Biasucci was confused. Trudeau says, get out of here.
Chased him off. That time the Bears defense said, get out of here to Eric Dickerson right down on the goal line. He didn't gain anything. Well, here it is right down the pit. This is where all the action is. You see that the Colts offensive line lost their movement on the line of scrimmage, and that had that defensive line pushing them back. That's what you want out of your line down there.
Defensive coordinator couldn't be any more happy. Let that defensive line establish a new line of scrimmage, a yard deep in the backfield, and let the linebackers fill. So that's the end of the 3rd period. With a score, Chicago 10, Indianapolis 6. And we now pause for a word from your local station.
This is Good Hands with Allstate. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires. And by Subaru, we built our reputation by building a better car.
Second and goal from the 2. Dickerson's wide open. There is a flag.
Well, I'll tell you what, Richard Dent just kissed Jack Trudeau, too. Jack didn't even get to see the play completed. But wait a minute, what may have happened is Eric Dickerson may have started up the field before the ball was snapped.
And it's against the Colts. There may have been a pick.
And there's Chip Meyer, the receiver coach.
Pass interference, number 85, 2nd down.
Matt Booz, number 85, he pushed off a play.
So they move it back to the 12, and it'll be 2nd and goal from the 12.
Of course, if you wonder how come Eric Dickerson was so wide open on the play, well, that's why. Matt Booza had a little something to do with it down in there. You pick those guys off, and suddenly your running back is going towards the cones, and he's wide open.
Interesting play, though. Everybody expected Dickerson to run. He went to motion.
Well, you know, as soon as you see him going in motion out of that backfield, it's got to be a pass on a rollout.
The give inside to Dickerson to the 5, touchdown.
Sometimes in the excitement to make the play, you miss something, and that time Mike Singletary had a little problem up the middle. We'll get to take a peek at it later on.
The extra point is good.
Here's what it looks like if you're a linebacker. Watch Eric Dickerson coming right at you. Good blocking inside there on Hampton, but boy, Singletary got taken out by Bennett, and here comes Eric Dickerson unmolested into the end zone.
I'm not so sure he was taken out by Hutt. Watch the collision between Dickerson and Singletary, and the running back won it. Boom.
Boy, I tell you what, that was a nice little spin move there, reminiscent of Chuck Foreman with the Vikings.
19 carries, 87 yards, and the Colts lead by 3.
Care of a car like this. My car.
Chicago has been dominant between the 20s. Look at the total offense. The Asushi 2 field goals, and Dickerson with the run. 1-on-1. Nutcracker drill with Mike Singletary, and Dickerson won it. And the Colts lead by 3. The Colts are swarming. Kozlowski back to about the 24-yard line, and Kozlowski was taken down quickly.
Now, what set the play up between Singletary and Dickerson was the offensive guard. Watch him here set up, give a little pass protection. That allows a block coming from the other side. Watch the other guard come over and pick Dan Hampton off, and that allows Dickerson to spin around inside, get into the end zone. Set up with that little pass protection, you know, Dan's second pass. He comes upfield, and suddenly that guard traps him.
Mcmahon complete to the 31-yard line to Wendell Davis.
But the play had a nice adjustment by Dwayne Bickett, number 50. There you saw him switching off the man on motion. See him switch off, let the man in motion go. Now he picks up Wendell Davis coming back up underneath. Originally, he was covering that guy that's way out there at the top of your screen, Matsui. There he comes back to make the play. Wendell Davis is not a bad receiver, though, for the Chicago Bears. First-round draft choice out of LSU.
They call that a matchup zone, the Colts. They get to their zone, they see a man coming in and they anticipate, they pick him up man. 2nd and 1. Sanders banks his way to the 34-yard line. It'll be close, and I think he has enough for the first down. Well, they mark it across the 35, so it is a Chicago first.
Neil Anderson is still absent from the game right now, and you have to believe that it must be something more than the fact that he's just tired. But then again, you don't lose anything with Thomas Sanders in the football game. There you see Neil right behind Mike Ditka. They don't mind sharing that halfback position. You know, they have a very good working relationship.
First down at the 36. Brian Alston again was all over McMahon.
Yeah, but the problem there, Ron Morris, 84, should work back to the football. You know, when you stop like that, that ball takes that long to get there. Watching down right side of your screen, number 84, Ron Morris, right on the numbers now. He comes, stops, turns back. Now work back to the football. That way, that kind of a situation doesn't develop where the back hits you, the defensive back hits you just as the ball's getting there.
Even without coming back to the football, that was a catchable ball.
Absolutely.
It'll be 2nd and 10 from the 36. Chicago trailing by 3. It was intended for Davis.
Ditka wants to be the leading receiver for the Bears today.
I think Ditka got a hand on it and tipped it.
Yes, he did. Now, one of the things that you saw there was Joe Klecko jumped offside, then got back over. Joe Klecko, in the story that we discussed last night, watches the hands of the quarterback, feels that he can get the good read. Now, Jim McMahon knows that and gives him that hand motion even before the ball snapped, and that gets old Joe jumping offside.
McMahon told us yesterday he drew Klecko off 5 times back in 1985 and said he could do it again today.
It's like having a good fish on the line.
7 defensive backs now for the Colts as they load up. The Bears do the same. The lone setback is Anderson. 3rd and 10. McMahon can't hear, and his teammates can't hear. And they'll wait it out.
Number 71 for the Colts is trying that leg out down there on the field, on the sideline, trying to see if he's ready to go again. He's that offensive right tackle for the Colts.
Fred Wyant, the referee, explaining to Jim McMahon, if you can't hear, don't run the play.
Here is Kevin Call. Appears that he's ready to get back in the football game. Anytime you strap it on, you better be ready to go.
Well, it's quiet in here now. McMahon still won't go.
Well, he has the right to wait until it quiets down. And yeah, the crowd's going to get on you a little bit, but this is an important situation now. 3rd down and long. They need to wait and make sure that everybody on the offense can hear.
It's a record crowd in the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. Tim Brandt and Dan Jiggins. 13-10 Colts. And it's 3rd and 10 for the Bears. Defense saying, hey, what's the story? It's quiet in here now.
Quiet now. And they're even telling the crowd to quiet down defensively. But the offense has that right to wait until it is quiet now. Jim should go ahead and snap the football now. Washington over Pittsburgh by 1. That's the one problem with dome stadiums, is the fact that when this crowd starts getting up, boy, you can't hear it.
Catch, first down Bears. He's only a rookie. But that was a veteran catch.
Wendell Davis, they said the kid could catch a BB at midnight, and I believe him. This kid will go anywhere to catch the football. Number 82, Wendell Davis, here on the isolation. Watching now with a little move, the shake inside now, goes to the sideline. Jumps up, and he wants the football. He wants the ball, and he just takes it away from Eugene Daniel, number 38.
Daniel got a nice break on the ball and got there in time. Marvelous catch by Davis. McMahon again goes to the corner and has another completion. This time it's Ron Morris. Similar pattern, opposite side, first down Chicago.
Everyone wondered what was going to be the effect of losing Galt in this offense of the Bears. And these young wide receivers that they have here now are the kind of guys who will go anywhere to catch the football. Yeah, Willie gave you that extra dimension, the fact that he can run down the field very quickly. But Ron Morris, Dennis Gentry, and all the rest of those guys are quality receivers that catch the football everywhere on the field.
Morris had 3 catches last week. Were you surprised at McMahon's comments about Galt saying he was an actor playing football?
Nothing surprises me with Jim.
Davis and McKinnon now the receivers on 1st and 10. Reverse. This is McKinnon to the 27-yard line. Right now, let's go back to New York for this update. Brent?
Tim, you've got a great one in Indianapolis, and it's seesaw down in Atlanta. The New Orleans Saints move back ahead 22-21. Reuben Mays from 17 yards out. They have gone to the 4th quarter, the early stages of the final 15. Let's go back to Tim.
All right, Brent. Here, 12:22 remaining in this ball game. The Colts lead it by 3. It'll be 2nd and 1 Chicago on the Colts 28. And the Bears take a timeout. And this one is charged. Dan, what do you think?
I think we'll be back in just a moment after this commercial break.
Nicely done.
Hello, business. Now, if you wonder what the quarterbacks do on a reverse, watch Jim McMahon here, number 9. He's going to block for Dennis Gentry on Willie Tullis, number 42. Now watch Jimmy throw the block. Hey, this guy should be an offensive lineman. You see him roll and try to get that little kick in there as well.
He's 200 pounds, though. I mean, he's not little. 2nd and 1 at the 28. Suey has the first down and then some.
You see why Matt Suey is the ideal fullback. Brad Muster is a big kid. He's about 6'4" or so. He's that fullback they drafted in the 1st round, and he runs in that straight-up position. Matt Suey is about 6 inches off the ground. Low ground clearance. That's the key with Suey. He looks like a little bowling ball. And the reason why Matt had success in the middle there was because of Jay Hilgenberg and Kurt Becker on Joe Klecko, and they just take him to the ground. It looks like championship wrestling. Nice block by Kurt Becker.
Call that a pancake, don't they?
Absolutely.
First down, Chicago. Inside the 10. Moorhead with another first down for Chicago.
That was a gut check catch for Emory Moorhead because he knew he was going to get hit on the play. And he just settled down in there and got down and made the catch.
A methodical drive. They're picking them up in bunches. 3 catches of 15 yards or more on this drive. 11 minutes and 5 seconds remain in the ball game.
The Bears feel the key to their offense now is the fact that they are patient. You know, they're not going to try to rush anything. They'll just keep working the ball down the field, using up that clock as well.
Bears trail by 3. First and goal at the 9. Suey to the 5-yard line. You know, watching that game last night, Notre Dame and Michigan, it was a flag because of the crowd noise. In the NFL, that doesn't occur. So Mcmahon can back off and wait as long as he wants. And the crowd will not be penalized, so he can yell as loud as he wants.
Until they get tired.
Second and goal. They mark it at the 4. Suey to the 3-yard line. Wayne Bickett made the tackle for Indianapolis. They'll bring up 3rd and goal.
This is 4-down territory here where the Bears can go for it on 4th down as well. They send in Thornton and Becker both to play those big tight end spots. You see Kurt Becker, number 79. He's reporting into the officials because he's going to be in an eligible position.
Well, it's a little bit early. You're saying they could go on 4th down. We'll see what they get here on this 3rd down play, but that'll be an interesting call if it has to occur. Bears trailing by 3 with 9:18 remaining in the ball game. The crowd's on its feet. Suey. Touchdown, Chicago.
Strong blocking up the middle gets Matsui in the end zone. Now watch Emery Moorhead, number 87. Good block there on Krause, and Matsui does the rest. We referred to it earlier, his running style, low to the ground, real tough. That gets you in the end zone down there.
Kevin Butler on for the extra point. And Chicago jumps back on top, 17-13.
That makes it easy for Matsui to get in the end zone after a great block by Jay Hilgenberg. Now you're the linebacker. Here they are coming at you. Hilgenberg on the bump there. He gets the linebacker down, and boy, does Emery Moorhead make a nice block.
Butler kicks off for Chicago. This is Bentley. Ball's loose. Colts get it back, but lost a couple. Methodical Chicago drive, 12 plays to 5:42. Now, as you look at this, Suey got the touchdown, but keep in mind it was the rookie, Wendell Davis, with a clutch catch on 3rd down to keep that drive alive.
And Matt was just talking to a guy who's a clutch player, Jim Covert, who's still in cities. He'll be activated probably next week. He had microsurgery on his back. Here's Jack Trudeau coming in the ballgame.
Boy, surgery to that offensive line is everyday occurrence.
It's a mass unit.
8 minutes, 59 seconds remain in this ball game.
You know, we haven't talked much about Ray Donaldson, the center of the Colts, who's an all-pro and a tremendous player in the middle for the Colts. But that left side has had its problems today.
Jack Trudeau on 1st down, feels pressure. What a catch. And what a play. Beach had to juggle it to make the catch. But Trudeau was under a lot of pressure, and he may be shaken up again.
We were talking about the left side of that offensive line. They had problems that time with Dan Hampton. They got to Jack Trudeau one more time. Watch left side of your screen. Dan Hampton playing over the nose now, makes a big move there on Donaldson. He just beats him right now off the snap, and Jack Trudeau can't get away. He just slings the football and then goes to the turf.
Some catch.
Here you see Dan again. He's beating Ray Donaldson right now. And Jack unloads the ball to Pat Beach. Now, what Dan is doing is making a quick move right off the line of scrimmage. Let's see if he does it again.
2nd and 5 from the 29. Dickerson. 1st down, Indianapolis at the 36-yard line. Don't forget, more great football coming up for you next week. Now, these two teams have not met since 1976. When Clemson won 15-12. You see Sammy Smith, Joe Henderson, two of the stars that you'll see between Florida State and Clemson. That's coming up next Saturday on CBS beginning at 2:30 Eastern Time.
I'm going to have to go with Clemson in that ball game. I think they're going to win the ball game.
I agree with you. Although Bobby Bowden,
he's
tough to go against. No question about that. 1st down, Trudeau drills it across the middle, and it's a catch by Brooks. Mike Singletary took him down. It'll be close to another 1st down for Indianapolis. Hank Stram asked Jack yesterday, said, Jack, in a tight fit situation, if there's one guy you want to go to, who would it be? He didn't even hesitate. He said, Bill Brooks, anywhere, anytime.
And there you see Bill Brooks on about an 8-yard in pattern. He beats Mike Richardson. But see, the thing is, Mike Richardson does not play real tight on defense. He always gives the receiver too much of a cushion, and as a result, you end up with plays like that.
Dickerson up to the 49-yard line. You see the time remaining in the ball game, 7:20. Clarence Burdan comes into the ball game. Bill Brooks comes back for Indianapolis. Delaney and Boyer come out for the Colts. Keep in mind, 25 straight games. Runner hasn't gone over 100 yards against the Bears. Dickerson's close. This is Trudeau with backside pressure and throws it away.
Well, I tell you what, Jack Trudeau has met that AstroTurf more times than he would like today. And Now you see him holding that knee. He's getting a lot of backside pressure, and that's the dangerous part. Pat Beach that time was trying to block backside on Richard Dent, number 95. It's tough to block him anyway, but you put a tight end on him, it's almost impossible.
Trudeau is hurting, and Chandler comes in. Chris Chandler, the rookie out of Washington, replaces Trudeau. It's 3rd and 8, 6:46 remaining in a crucial ball game. Trailing by 4, and it's the rookie quarterback. Dent. Dickerson.
And there's Dave.
And there is a flag. Boy, look at Singletary. I wonder if that flag will be against the Colts sideline.
Well, I tell you what, Mike gets worked up on the coin flip, though. He's involved.
Personal foul, spearing, unnecessary roughness.
Was it Dickerson?
No, it was Singletary that got called for the spearing, but you know what he'll do along that sideline? He'll play it tough. Right side of your screen, you'll see him, number 50, Mike Singletary. David Dickerson makes the stop, and Singletary, what he did was he put the head down. As soon as you put that head down, you're going to get the spearing call on the sideline. That was not a very generous call on the part of the officials.
No question about the call, though.
No, when you put that head down, you're going to get the spearing call.
Did not use the head as a weapon. First down and 10 at the 41. Chandler, the rookie quarterback, as the crowd grows silent. Dickerson spins his way across the 40 to the 37-yard line, and that's where Maurice Douglas makes the tackle.
In looking at that defense where Richard Dent is playing that stand-up linebacker slash defensive end position, if I were the Colts, I'd look at very hard at looking at running a reverse on Richard, because he does not stay with the backside contained well enough. He reacts down the line of scrimmage like a defensive lineman would do. And maybe you want to come back with a reverse off of that.
Earlier in the game when Trudeau was hurt, Hogaboom came in. This time with his knee, they elected to go with the rookie. Chandler. Again, it's Dickerson. Hit behind the line of scrimmage. Ball's loose. Chicago says they got it.
We talked about Eric Dickerson putting the ball on the turf in the 4th quarter.
Chicago has it. McMichael makes the recovery.
What looked like it would happen was that Eric Dickerson got kicked in the face. It looked like a leg whip almost by Dan Hampton, number 99.
Eric Dickerson fumbled in the 4th quarter last week. Actually, it was overtime. And Houston kicked the field goal by Tony Zendejas to win that one.
There's a couple of things going on this offense. Number one, you got Gary Hogaboom sitting on the bench. Now Eric Dickerson rolls the ball along on the ground.
Look at this.
Boy, that's 1 out of every 32 carries. He's putting it on the ground.
Well, that may not sound like much, but he carries the ball 24, 25 times a game. Maybe more. So you can almost expect to fumble a game.
Steve McMichael getting some oxygen.
Anderson, left side, gets a block, gets the first down. Chicago. Another key block by Suey. The clock's down to 5:19.
Well, I tell you, Matt Suey's been wearing Dwayne Bickett on his shoulder pad all afternoon. Got another nice block at the point of attack. He's just cutting Dwayne Bickett because Bickett is 6'5". Matt's about 5'9", 5'10". He's just getting down on those legs and taking him out and neutralizing the size of Bickett.
It'll be first down in the 48. Look at Mike Singletary, the fridge.
He's William Perry this year, not the fridge.
Little icebox. Lost a lot of weight. Looks good. This is Suey to midfield. Don't forget, after this one, we've got the men's final coming from the U.S. Open. Top-seeded Ivana Lendl against Wilander. You asked me, how about who do you like there?
I like Ivana Lendl. I really do. I think hard court, he's the guy to go with.
Showed a lot of composure against Dickerson.
There is Eric Dickerson looking at those eyes. Now, I don't know, he wears those glasses all the time. They're prescription glasses, too, by the way. Because if you see him off the field, he does wear glasses.
2nd and 8, ball on the 50. This is Anderson with a whole lot of blockers, and he is nailed.
Yeah, but he gained 2 yards on the flip.
Cliff Odom. That's the optimistic way to look at it. Cliff Odom was the man that flipped him up.
Boy, I tell you what, he played right down the line of scrimmage, too. Watch number 98, Cliff Odom, come down the line of scrimmage and make the play on Neil Anderson with a nice low stick. Now, the guards are out in front, and you see Wojciechowski, number 73, coming from the backside, but Odom makes a great play. Now, watch this. What do you give Neil Anderson on this flip? Maybe about a 6.8.
6 defensive backs on 3rd and 5. The draw to Anderson. He'll be close to that first down for Chicago. And they are melting the clock. It's down to 3 minutes. Harvey Armstrong made the tackle for Indianapolis, along with Pryor. Hey, you know what? I think Pryor and Anderson have their face masks locked. They were stuck.
Well, they're not in love, I can tell you that much.
That happens.
What happens is the buckles on the side of them get connected, and then you can't get it loose down there. There is Steve Kazar, the special teams coach for the Bears, and he also coaches the tight ends. Sure, he's wondering whether or not he wants to get those big guys in. That is Kurt Becker down to play one of those tight end spots in a situation substitution.
2 minutes, 58 seconds remain in the ball game. The Bears lead 17-13. Bears have 2 timeouts remaining. The Colts have 3. It'll be 4th down and that much.
And indeed, we do have Kurt Becker in the game. He's at one of the tight end spots. He's number 79. Emory Moorhead is in the game at the other tight end position.
McMahon stays in at 4th down. The crowd tells of the importance of this play.
Quarterback sneak.
How about that, Dan? Dan Jiggets made the call. Quarterback sneak. McMahon listened.
Well, see, the thing
I think he got it.
The thing that Jim did is he went to the side away from the slant on the nose man. That time you saw him work to the right guard because that nose man was worked over to the left side of his center.
Boy, look at Odom complaining. He didn't think they made it.
Now, watch. McMahon worked to the right side over that right guard position because he knows he's got a gap or a void over there, and Kurt Becker gets out very nicely on the linebacker.
You know, it looked like a stutter step, waited to read to see which way he was going.
That's right, because you know you're going to get a slant in there. And look at number 73, Klecko, trying to jump over the top to reach him, but he goes along for the ride.
That's the 23rd Chicago first down against just 11 for Indianapolis. Barry Krause wanted a measurement, and they have that right anytime, any place. We'll be back.
You know what's smooth?
Ever in this building to watch an event, a record crowd. Indianapolis with 3 timeouts remaining, Chicago with 2. The Bears lead by 4 with 2 minutes remaining in the ball game.
Now, moments earlier, Barry Krause, there you see him, number 55, was trying to negotiate with the officials to get that measurement made. He wanted them to measure for the first down. The official said, hey, I've already moved the sticks. So Barry lost his negotiations.
Suey and Anderson in the backfield for Chicago. First down, this is Anderson, and he loses yardage. And the Colts will take one of their 3 remaining timeouts. You know, perhaps the biggest play in this ball game may be a non-scoring play. That was that clutch 3rd down pass to Wendell Davis, which kept that last drive alive. And Chicago went on to score.
Kept some blood pumping in the offense of the Bears, and then they got down in there, and you're right, they got into the end zone, and that's what turned things around for them in the fourth quarter.
Don't forget a reminder, coming up after this game, the U.S. Open Tennis Men's Final, Ivana Lendl against Wilander. Number 1 Lendl against the number 2 seed. That's the way it's supposed to be. That's all next here on CBS Sports.
You think Mike Ditka is going to watch the U.S. Open after the game?
I know I am.
I could see him at Wimbledon, though, you know, that kind of thing.
Hey, listen to this. Mcmahon, 19 of 31, 185 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But in the clutch, 4 of 6, 52 yards on the last touchdown drive.
That's getting it done. Remember, we talked at the top of the game about his success in terms of starts and victories for the Bears.
2nd and 14 from the 45. Anderson picks up 1, maybe 2. And again, they'll stop the clock. So Indianapolis uses its 2nd timeout, and the Colts will have 1 remaining with 1:51. Doubleheader Sunday next week on CBS, Minnesota, Chicago. Who you like there?
I like Chicago now. They've got the head of steam up now.
Well, you played for Chicago. That's
but, you know, I picked Minnesota to win the Central Division.
Phoenix, Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay there.
Philadelphia, Washington.
Philadelphia.
Oh, Buddy Ryan's done it, huh? You're a believer. Game 2. Oh, well, he was with you in Chicago.
That's
no
right.
Wonder.
I'll pick the
Giants in Dallas.
And that Raiders-Rams game ought to be interesting if Jay Strader's starting a quarterback for them. In San Francisco and Atlanta, you're going to be out there in San Francisco, and I'm sure you like it, San Francisco in that one. But look what they were doing in New Orleans earlier today. That's
you
going
would
to be a
think,
good
obviously,
game.
but then Atlanta played. That's exactly right. Played very well. Meanwhile, here at the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis, 1:51 remaining in the ball game. It's 17-13 Bears. It'll be 3rd down and 13. Ball on the 44, and the Colts have 1 timeout remaining. Pitch back to Anderson. He's going to throw. Has a man. It's Gentry who can't hang on. Gentry had the step on Daniel.
What Dennis wasn't sure of is whether or not Neal was going to tuck the ball under and run, because first Dennis was looking to the outside, then he looked back to the inside. Now, Neal Anderson, you'll see him have to pull up here because he wanted to roll outside. Then he does that little stutter step, and then he flicks it out to Dennis. Dennis just wasn't quite sure which way it was going to come. You see him now pretending like he's going to stalk block. Now he takes off on the defender, Eugene Daniel. He turns around, but if he had stayed inside, looking inside, he would have made the reception.
So Brian Wagner comes on to punt for Chicago. Clarence Verdun is deep for the Colts. 1:45 remaining. The Colts do have a timeout left. High spiraling punt angled for the corner. And it'll go out of bounds. We'll see where they mark it. At the 10. Inside the 10. And the fans here don't like the mark. Hey, Dan, if it's Sunday, it must be 60 minutes. And if it's 60 minutes, it's everybody's favorite news magazine. 60 Minutes tonight on CBS, followed by Murder, She Wrote, and then the CBS Sunday night movie, Intrigue, starring Scott Glenn. That's all coming up tonight on CBS. Now, our partner, Hank Scram, who became ill yesterday, is resting comfortably today.
Yeah, we want to wish the coach.
We want to wish him well.
Absolutely.
And I know he'll be tuned in to 60 Minutes. That's his favorite show. Get back soon, Hank. 1st and 10 on the 10. 1:38 remaining. And Jack Trudeau's back in the ball game. Goes deep. Intercepted. Bestie Jackson to the 19-yard line.
And we got another flag down back near Jack Trudeau and on Richard Dent, I believe. And Pat Beach is facing him off.
Well, we'll wait and see what this is all about.
Personal foul, number 99, unnecessary roughness, touchdown.
Okay, Richard Dent was discussing the penalty on Dan Hampton. Now watch the interception. This is all caused by Richard Dent putting hard pressure on Jack Trudeau. Sometimes pressure is better than a sack because Jack Trudeau harries the throw and Bestie Jackson is there to pick it off. Nice run back as well by Vesti, but the Bears were penalized on the play, but the offense is on the field for the Chicago Bears. And the Colts defense is lined up. Richard Dent's been having a nice game. Good pressure on the quarterback. Again, as I said, that rushes that quarterback into throwing the football when he doesn't want to.
1:29 remaining, Dan. 17-13. Bears. First down, ball on the 34. Major break on that penalty.
Well, you know, Richard Dent has been through a lot this week with the suspension, and now he's back on the team. You think about all that confusion and missing 2 days of practice. He's come back strong. Now this is where the penalty came in. Dan Hampton on Jack Trudeau. Now watch him on the pickoff. Hey, the quarterback is fair game when the ball is picked up. You just have to be careful of when you do it.
I said major break because they moved it back. I was ready to close the door on the Colts. At least now they've got a shot at 129. The ball at the 34-yard line.
Well, coaches always tell you when there's an interception or a fumble, you know, keep your head on the swivel, keep looking, because that's when somebody's going to take the shot on you.
Indianapolis will use its final timeout. This is where that new 40-second clock comes in. They can eat up more of the clock than they could in the old days.
Here is Ron Meyer. I'm sure he's a little bit disgusted because he was looking for what should have been the second victory in a row for him this season. When you look at what happened to them last week against Houston, they're putting the ball on the ground, critical time. The same thing this week with the Dickerson fumble late in the football game.
Vesti Jackson, 2 interceptions. Clutch plays. Big catch by Wendell Davis earlier. Mcmahon tough in the clutch. 4 for 5 on that big drive. Gentry had a big day.
There's a final. Buffalo beat Miami by 3, 9-6. That sounds like a baseball score.
Sounds like that Cleveland-Boston score. The Indians beat the Red Sox 4-2. As you look at the other scores. Second and 7 from the 31. Market make it 2nd and 8. Suey slides along. They'll say it was down at the 27. Flecko tripped him up. So it looks as if the Colts will become 0-2. And the Bears will go 2-0.
And the Colts have played 2 good football games, but have just allowed the game to slip away from them 2 weeks in a row in the 4th quarter.
How much heat will Dickerson take for fumbling in crucial situations both weeks?
Well, I think he's going to take a lot of heat, but Jack Trudeau certainly should not, because many times when he was passing the football, he didn't have time to set up. The key question, though, for the Indianapolis Colts is what's wrong with Gary Hogeboom and Ron Meyer in their relationship.
This could be the last play of the game. Of course, Eric Dickerson was telling us yesterday, you know, he carries the ball so many times and there's so many snaps in a ball game, he fumbles it one time and all the focus comes on him. And that should do it.
There's Mike coming across to shake hands with Ron Meyer. These guys were friends down in Texas. They knew each other when Ron was at SMU and Mike was with the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, he's going to say hello to his old buddy Gary Hogeboom from the Cowboys.
Hard to figure out, Dan, why Hogeboom came in when Trudeau hurt his ribs early in the ball game, but then when he hurt his knee later, they came with the rookie.
Yeah, there's apparently a real big rift down here between those two. And I'm not quite sure what's going to happen, but I know that Gary Hogeboom is not happy if he's not starting.
Well, he started last week. They didn't think the offense moved in the second half. The coaching staff felt that he ad-libbed too much, and they thought Trudeau stayed more with the game plan. And when you talk to the players, they also felt more comfortable with Trudeau in the huddle, surprisingly. And they didn't think that there were any mix-ups while he was in there. He was very deliberate, made sure everybody knew, where they said it was almost a rhythmic cadence when Hogeboom called the plays in the huddle, and at times there were mental breaks. So that's the final score. The Chicago Bears go to 2-0. The Indianapolis Colts go 0-2. Once again.